Curtis Boyle's out there. D. Bruce Moore is out there. All right, the light is green. So if you want to, Diego, one more time, since we just had dress rehearsal, and now that we're live, and since you have to go, you want to give your Thanksgiving message again?
Sure. Like I said, I'm very thankful to my Coco 3. Okay, this is the first one that I got. It's been with me for most of my life. Thanks to my father also, who got it for me, and this has allowed me to meet all of you guys, be a part of this community, and that's something that I'm really thankful for. Okay, going to the Coco Fest, the 2 Coco Fest that I went have been 2 of the highest points in my life. So thanks all of you guys.
Excellent, and thank you too for all the cool stuff you do.
Pleasure.
How do I take you out of that? All right, there we go. I got you out. All right, well, so I know you can't hang out with us very long because you're in the future. It's 10 o'clock for you in Uruguay, right? So
it's 11.
11. Oh, that's right. You guys don't celebrate daylight savings or Thanksgiving over there. Yeah, that really is the
skip daylight here.
Yeah, that really is the third world.
We don't celebrate anything. We're very sad people.
Awesome, Diego. Well, I'm glad you could jump on right when we got ready to start here, and so we're live. Hello, everybody. This is a special Thanksgiving. We're live on Thanksgiving evening. We got a number of people with us, and hopefully a few more might show up. In Mission Control, keeping an eye on everything, including our nation's defense. But Ron Delvaux is with us. Happy Thanksgiving, Ron.
Happy.
Joy. First time on the show, we have Jason Downs joining us. Hello, Jason.
Hello.
Happy Thanksgiving, Jason.
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Yes, and on the show far too often, Curtis Boyle's with us here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving, and we're sorry.
I'm in a turkey coma on it's kind of a tribute to all you guys. So
excellent. And from California, we got Mikey with us. Happy Thanksgiving, Mikey.
Happy Thanksgiving.
We got John Lowry joining us again now. How are you, John? And happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Glad to be back. And hello.
Hello. And Ron, I think your microphone's a little close to you because I hear you breathing a lot. Yeah, it's okay. We're glad to know that you're alive, though. So
good. Okay.
Bruce Moore is out there saying, "Hey, what's a Canadian doing on the USA Thanksgiving?" All right, we're sorry. We're sorry that you guys, don't celebrate when we do.
Sorry.
All right, well, let's go ahead and kick off the intro now, and we're going to start off our special After Dark Turkey Day Turkey Talk episode of CoCoTALK, and here we go. 3, 2, 1.
CoCoTALK After Dark. CoCoTALK After Dark.
Welcome to Turkey Talk, a special episode of CoCoTALK on Thanksgiving Eve. We hope you all are having a great Thanksgiving and you got lots to be thankful for. So, let's talk turkey. All right, and we're here. And we kicked things off with Diego saying what he was thankful for, which was really what I was hoping that we could get people to start to say. In the live chat, we have people with us here too. Curtis Boyle is here, D. Bruce Moore, Tim Franklin, what is his name here? So, Aminko Stone. I'm probably butchering that pronunciation there. D. Bruce Moore. Trina K is here saying happy joy. And so let me see if I can read that. It's Aminko, I don't know, but you're saying yo. Hello to you. And thanks everybody being on the panel. And it's Thanksgiving. Did everybody get enough to eat today?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
I did, even though our Thanksgiving was last month.
Yeah.
Stuff.
What's that? A minico. Is it a minico or a minico? You say tomato, I say tomato.
A Min Echo, I think, is how he's typing it there.
A mineco? Okay.
It says it's a Japanese stuffed toy.
Okay. Well, happy Thanksgiving to you, even if you're not in the United States or if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving. I'm sure we've all got something to be thankful for. Yeah, I got stuff today, which is good. Anybody take a nap after they ate?
No, I didn't get to.
No?
Not
That's
so far. I might
yeah.
during the show, but
Excellent, excellent. All right, well, we're here. And Ron Delvaux.
Yes, sir.
I think you sent me something on Facebook, but I didn't even get a chance to look at it yet. It's been a crazy week. But
It's just a greeting.
should I play that, or do you want to just tell us yourself, or?
Yeah, okay. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, from Ron's Garage out here in the West.
In
That's
the
pretty
West.
much it. I mean,
There you
I
go.
did a little happy cam thing with it.
And what are you thankful for this year, Ron?
That I'm alive.
Yeah.
Number two, yeah, I've had issues that have been repaired. And I have
Excellent.
ongoing other issues that aren't as bad, but yeah, it could be down the road. We'll see. But other than that, I have a mother that's 86, that she's doing really well. I take care of her. My wife has a father he's 85, and he's in he's in okay shape. But we're thankful for having them around, and we're thankful for our children, which are not close, but we wish they were here for us on the holidays. My son might be coming in January. So I have another one in Rochester, New York. And they seem to be doing well. What they called. We all call. You know, everybody calls on a holiday. Keep in touch. And that's about it. I got, if you guys want this picture, you can get it off of Ron's Garage. There's a file there. You can download it and have it on your Coco for absolutely no reason other than you can do it.
Just because Coco.
that's just about everything, Coco. Just
Yeah. I kind of feel we should represent the Coco some way, so that's why I either try to position so that you can see mine somewhere.
Sure.
Very difficult to point by looking at the camera.
Yeah.
Anybody?
You're doing a hell of a job there, Ron. So, excellent. Yeah, well, I'm definitely thankful for meeting all you guys, too, for those of you who I have met in person or on the internet or whatever. So, yeah. Very, very cool. And Jason, how are you, dude?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah. We've never had you on before. I don't want to put you on the spot, but we'll give you the option if you want to do This Is Your Life and tell us who you were, how you were, who you are now, what you want to be when you grow up, and all that kind of stuff. If you want to do that, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
I can do a brief introduction.
Okay.
You should turn the volume up a little bit.
What was that?
You're low. Does he sound a little low to you? Or is it just me?
Yeah, your microphone volume's a little
crank
low.
your volume up a little bit.
Well, everybody turn your ears up, too. Everybody listen carefully.
Just don't turn it up to David Ladd levels, because that's excessive.
Well, here, let me just. Is that better?
It's okay. We'll live with it.
So I got my first Coco 2 when I was about 10 years old. I think it was around 1984. It was a 64K ECB with a melted keyboard. And I beat the hell out of that thing for many years. Eventually got a second one and then a Coco 3. Used that for a couple of years. It actually kind of helped me get going into where I ended up with my career. I didn't have access to CompuServe or Delphi or even had a reliable Rainbow magazine subscription or anything like that. So I kind of had to write my own 40-column terminal program on a direct connect modem pack and use that to start dialing into Unix systems, where I taught myself C and Unix system administration and all that good stuff. Went into operating system development. Did that for a long time. I was one of the founding developers for the OpenBSD project.
Wow.
So I've had a lot of experience with that, and basically ended up being a systems engineer for my career. And right now I'm a manager of site reliability engineering for a company here in Portland.
Wow. Oh. And you just kind of kicked in a little bit louder now, too.
Cool. After the Coco 3, I started working on, I got an Amiga 500, used that for a few years, and then went to PCs and just various Unix workstations as far as.
And you're doing stuff now, right? You got things going on. You're posting on Facebook and everything.
Yeah. So I had the opportunity to go to the Portland Retro Gaming Expo this year, and it just so happened that Tim Winder was there selling most of his stuff, and I bought a whole bunch of it.
Neat.
Some of that stuff was actually Marty Goodman, so you might have some of Marty Goodman's old original stuff. He was the columnist for Rainbow.
I got a Coco 3 from him. I got the speech and sound program pack that he used to do the MAME emulation for that.
Oh, wow.
And a whole bunch of his family game cartridges, like some that his grandmother had gotten for him when he was a kid and stuff like that.
Wow.
Including his copy of Edtasm. Yeah, it was pretty productive.
Very, very cool.
So you're committed now.
Yes. I have, right now in my office, I have the Coco 3 that's been upgraded to 2 megabytes in 6309. I have 2 complete Coco 2s, 1 case that I'm working on, the motherboard needs to be fixed, and 2 263024 multi-packs, one of which I've upgraded. Yeah. I have 2 floppy enclosures that work, and 1 floppy controller that works.
Cool.
Excellent. So you are ready for the latest, greatest Coco games with your 6309 and your 2 megabytes of RAM. Nothing's holding you back.
Oh, yeah. Early 90s technology. Here we go.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, we're very happy to have you join us. Nice to have you on.
Have
Very
you
cool.
looked at some of our past Coco Talks? How did you find us?
I found the Facebook group initially, like the same day I bought the Coco 3 from Tim. I found the Facebook group and joined that, and then from there I found pretty much everything else. Found CoCoTALK, started listening to it. I went through a bunch of the old ones. It's been fun.
Well, we're sorry for that. So yeah.
There goes the rest of your life.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's really interesting when you see people post a message and they say, "Yeah, I'm catching up and I'm listening to it and everything else," and I was like, "Man, it's just so unexpected." You know what the show has become, and you know the fact that old episodes are, people will watch them and stuff. So I think that's great, and it's always neat to hear when somebody throws that out there.
Yeah, and there's 2 full shows to catch up with because there's a Coco Crew as well. So kind of inspired us to get started. So keep you busy for a while.
There's no shortage of stuff to listen to. Excellent. So what are you thankful for this year, even if it's not Coco related?
Oh, I'm pretty thankful for that, actually. Getting back into this after 25 years, it's certainly been fun, and it's certainly made for an interesting couple of months.
Do you have kids that are into it?
No. It's really just me. My wife's kind of grinning and bearing it right now.
Along with mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're called Coco Widows. I think.
Yeah, there needs to be a support group for the significant others of those in the retro hobby. So.
Well, she was kind of used to it since I've been collecting game consoles for a while, so this was really just a replacement for that.
Just an extension of the obsession, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Very, very cool. All right, so how did we pronounce Miniko's name?
Mineko, I think.
Miniko says, I'm thankful that I've already got my Coco 3. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm getting some feedback from somebody. I'm not sure who, but I'm hearing a little bit of an echo. Testing.
I'm not on a headset. I could get on a headset though.
It might be worth it to try. And I've been hearing a little bit of this. It's not terrible, but it's out there.
Let me grab a headset.
Yeah. So when we asked the question, frickin' sound, frickin' board. I tell you what, I'm not thankful for. I'm not thankful for this frickin' soundboard. But let's try this again. So when we ask the question,
hey, you got your Coco 3 yet?
You could say,
thank you. Yes, you're too kind, and thank you.
Yes, thank you. You're too kind. I got my Coco 3. Yes. Oh my. And L. Curtis Boyle, you managed to stuff yourself today, anyways, even though you're Canadian, right? So
yeah, but I used donuts instead of turkey, but it worked.
Don't tell us what kind, like if they're chocolate or whatever. What are they?
Chocolate with filling. It's
yeah.
Barbarians, right?
Yeah, it's pretty well the Homer Simpson type thing.
Yeah.
I'm not thankful I had as many as I did. I'm starting to feel the effects now. But what I'm thankful for this year, I'm thankful that I've gotten back into the Coco community full time as opposed to just kind of sitting on the edges for 15 years. Because I always kept it, up on the list in the Facebook groups and stuff, but I wasn't being too active. And I'm thankful for Nick Morenz for finally giving me enough of a kick in the ass to get going on the Ease of Use project, which we've been talking about for decades.
Excellent.
I'm also thankful that I managed to kick Nick in the ass, so he's actually going to write a 639 base game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thankful that Bill Nobles rejoined the community as well. I helped him get into it again because when Twit was moving to a smaller facility in Petaluma, California a year ago, they were getting rid of a lot of the old donated computers, and I donated Coco 3 of them a few years back. And I arranged with them to come pick it up, and I got it and gave it to Bill. Now Bill's fully back into it, so I'm thankful that'll happen too.
You see what influence you are? You're just
yeah, like a bad drunk. And just thankful for the community in general, the fact that we've got so many people and that the community is getting more and more active, that this is the most active I've seen it probably in 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of new stuff, hardware and software, everything else coming out. More people are trying to learn machine language with the courses, from a couple of people, including Steve. Thankful for meeting you, Stevie, so we could get the show started.
No, Christ.
Talking about joysticks. We still have to start that level 2 and up show.
The day the rest of the world regrets, right? The day you and I started flabbergasting.
Well, it's not quite as bad as David's floppy talk, so we can take that.
Now, one thing good is some of us jump in and help others when they come on the Coco Facebook group, and they're either wanting to go online or wanting to upgrade or do things, and a bunch of people jump in, and just like with Busy Bees, and go around the guy and help them out. It's a good thing.
And sometimes we actually give them good advice, so that's
yeah. And I've seen the opposite of that because I'm in a handful of Facebook groups for some of the games I play and stuff. Like, you take a Minecraft group, for example, and if somebody's a noob in Minecraft and posts like a question that, anybody should know, you'd be surprised how many people will just troll that person and just say, listen, you're a noob and you're, any idiot knows this, and they're just not really very kind. But, you're looking at people from all over the world, all different ages and things like that. So, I think at least, and Mark Overholzer's out there on Facebook too. Hello, Mark D. Feel free to join us. But at least I think most of the people in the Coco Facebook group are, over the age of, 25 or something. So hopefully they've learned a little bit of maturity and mannerisms. So, but yeah, we have
a worldwide audience too. I mean, we've got people, on the panel regularly from, various continents. So it's not so much a diversity of people. Maybe the age of Minecraft players, is that part of the?
Well, it could be. Yeah, just just internet. Yeah, most of the internet trolls. I mean, they're all ages, but I think a lot of young kids hide behind the anonymity of being on the internet and stuff. In our live chat too, we had a few people responding too. So Tim Franklin says, "Thankful for still being alive after my heart attack and open heart surgery. They put a new 6309 in, and it's beating at 0.899 beats per minute."
I guess when he works out, he uses a double speed poke.
Yes, that's awesome.
Who is that?
Tim Franklin.
Oh,
Tim Frank. I remember when he was watching us one day on Saturday. It's like, yeah, I just got done having open heart surgery, and we're like, well, we hope this show doesn't put you back in a hospital. So, yeah, instead of a pacemaker, put a 6309 in there, right? So, but kick that heart into native mode and get more efficiency out of it. So. Paul Friscarelli's out there saying happy Thanksgiving, you turkeys. Mark Overholzer's on Facebook. He says, I'm thankful for family and friends, especially the coconuts that frequent CoCoTALK and the Coco Discord server. God bless us, everyone. Yes, very cool.
Did John Lurie's headset fix things?
Yeah, I think it's less echoey, less choppy. So
Great. How's my audio?
Oh, it's better. It's the greatest thing I've ever heard. It's like the angels are just singing to me right now. So,
where are you, John?
Now,
I'm located in northeast Ohio, a city called Elyria, Ohio, about 30 miles southwest of Cleveland or so.
Cool. Know where that is.
and I don't know if we got your "This Is Your Life" when you were on last week, John. You wanna tell us a little bit of past, present, future?
Yeah. A friend of mine, I had a friend who had a Model 1, and I was learning and reading about the Model 1 on my own, and we became friends. And a friend of his, who is also now a friend, had a Coco, and he kind of turned me onto the Coco. And another friend of mine, who I worked with when I worked at Radio Shack, he was also into Coco, and him and I have been friends for like 30 years. And so that's how I kind of got into the whole Coco scene. And although, I eventually moved on to PCs, like when I initially moved on to PCs, I just kind of totally moved away from the color computer. And, then eventually emulators and things like that came along. I think it was when emulation started. I was playing, I had a little Coco screen running on my computer. And, I could run 100 Coco screens on my, modern computer. And so I thought it was cool that I could emulate. I'm into emulation overall. I don't care if it's arcade games or old computer systems or whatever. I love emulation. And to be able to emulate the Coco and, what was that poke again? And, just started playing around with it again and, blowing the dust off of everything that I forgot. And
how long did you work at Radio Shack?
I worked 2 different times. The initial time that I worked, it was kind of a thing the manager came up with. I was technically working at the Radio Shack in the mall next to the computer center, but in reality, I worked in the computer center doing the managerial grunt work, basically. But it was great, and eventually Tandy caught on because they saw all the labor transfers every payday because I was getting paid through the mall store, but I was working in the other store. And so that the computer center would pay for it, they would transfer the labor over. And Tandy eventually caught on and told me I had to go work in a regular O1 store, and eventually created the position that I held, though. So my manager was kind of ahead of the game there at the computer center. And I worked for Radio Shack for a couple of years. I'm going to say 4 years or so. And then again in the mid-90s for about 2 years. I worked for Radio Shack, a regular Radio Shack store. And, as far as currently, I'm employed at Apple. You were talking about Thanksgiving. I'm thankful that, my family's all healthy, first and foremost. And I'm thankful for my job. I work for one of the greatest companies on the planet. They're a great company to work for. And so I'm very, on a daily basis, thankful for that. And thankful that the internet and groups like this have enabled me to touch base with other Coco folks around the world and rub elbows, with the likes of guys like, published guys like Steve York and Rick Adams and people I never thought I'd ever meet, but names I recognize from, especially Steve with all the, plethora of games that he's and applications that he's created throughout the years. He's probably one of the most prolific published software programmers out there when it comes to the Coco. And, never thought I'd have a chance to meet these guys because I used to really respect, their work. And it's awesome that we have this forum. And Stevie, you provide this wonderful forum for us to all get together and chew the fat. And I think that's definitely something I'm grateful for as well.
Excellent. Well, that's awesome. And we're glad to have you.
The rainbow kind of did that for us, didn't it, over the years?
Yeah.
It gave us all these people to find out who they are and kind of get a bent towards their work and get a respect for them.
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I have an interesting Rainbow story. I picked up the latest issue of Rainbow one day, and I went home, and there was this big article on the front about this BBS program that some guy had written, mostly in BASIC, but had some machine language routines for the serial port stuff. But it was massive, and it made the cover of the magazine. And I read the magazine, and I looked through the program, and I'm thinking, man, this is wonderful, but I don't want to type in all this code. So I continue to read the article, and I get to the end of the article, and down at the bottom it says the guy's name and his address was right below it, 749 Tower Boulevard, Lorain, Ohio. And I saw that, and I went, huh. So I got in my car and I drove 3 houses down and hung a right and went about a half a mile down the road and turned right into the guy's driveway and went and knocked on the door. And this guy answered the door, and I said, "Are you so-and-so?" I forget his name off the top of my head. And he says, "Yeah." And so I held up some blank discs in the magazine.
You don't know me, but
I said, "I love your program, man, but I don't want to type in all this code. Can I get a copy?" And he started laughing and invited me in.
Oh my God!
Gave me some copies of the program, so I didn't have to type it all in. That was one of the weirdest things ever. Literally,
New York, I talked about that at one time, saying he would get people doing that, calling them and saying, "Listen, I don't want to type all this stuff in. Can you help me out?"
That's hysterical. I mean, you got to, it's different times too. Because the thing is, people would be really, really leery about putting their home address out anywhere in the public. But that's.
Did you use the program?
Okay, so Carl Daugherty. I'm going to screw up his name, and I've had one beer, so I'm already cut off. But Carl D. Yeah, I think he said earlier in the chat, he says he might be close to you. Are you the town you mentioned you're in, John? What town was that again?
Lorain, Ohio.
Yeah, I have to scroll back to see what Carl was saying, but I think he's made mention that he's familiar with that town. Or hold on, let me just go back to the scrolling here. I'm not sure if anybody else is reading the chat right now.
I got an Irish setter from Lorain, Ohio one time. When my car
he's
Illyria?
So Carl was asking if you were at the Radio Shack in the Midway Mall. It says you guys might have met.
That was the one where I was hired out of the mall store, but I worked at the computer center, which was basically right across State Route 57 in a little strip mall that was next to the mall. And so I didn't technically I worked out of that, or I was paid out of that store, but I always worked at the computer center. When Tandy caught on, I went to the store in Lorain and occasionally worked. I worked at the mall store a couple times and the Amherst location a few times. And then in '95, when I was working out of initially Amherst and then Lakewood. So yeah.
Yeah. And then Carl says that the guy who made that program was Mike Jorgensen. And Carl says he was best pals with Mike back in the day. So it's kind of cool. Small world, huh?
Are you from Lorain, Carl?
Yeah, Carl, join us on the call. Everybody, join us.
He said he's in Illyria. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Elyria?
Yeah, Illyria is how it's pronounced. It was named after a guy named Charles Ely. So it's kind of like Illyria is how it's pronounced. It's always mispronounced when you see it on the news, on the national news or something. Because every 10 or 15 years, some factory blows up for some reason.
Now that's a thing to be famous.
It's an insurance thing.
Yeah,
so.
And it makes the news usually. So someone, some national news guy is saying, yeah, there was an explosion at a factory in Elria, Ohio.
I'm picturing that SCTV sketch with the blew it up real good.
Blow it up real good. Yeah, blow it up real good. Yeah.
We had that in Toledo. There was a suburb called Maumee, and people had a really rough time saying that. Maumee?
Yeah, Maumee.
Get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like partway between here and Toledo.
Yeah.
Excellent. And in no particular order because people are jumping on all over the place. And so new to the call now, Bill Noble has just joined us recently. Hello, Bill. And Rick Adams has just joined us. Hello, Rick. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. God bless us, everyone. We have so much to
be today.
Yes, so we are. So we'll just keep going around the screen here. So Brian Weisler, you are up next on This Is Your Life, and what are you thankful for? What are you not thankful for? Who do you love? Who do you hate? All that kind of stuff. So,
well, like all, thankful for family and friends. That I've been fortunate that all the family is pretty much right here where I live, so I don't have to travel far to see anybody. So that's always kind of nice. And obviously health. Going on 50 like a lot of us, and or beyond, and it's always good to be healthy and be able to do the things we want to do. Also, too, very thankful for this nation that we live in, and the freedoms and the opportunities that it gives us to do the things that we want to do and be able to, participate in stuff and do the things we want to do. So that's always it's an amazing nation we live in. And then also, too, I guess to put a little bit of a Coco spin on it, Tandy and the color computer and stuff. I mean, like a lot of us, we got started with that, and for many of us, it led to careers, and it's been a very very good career for me, and being in the IT world, and I've really enjoyed it, and it's opened a lot of doors for me. So, and then also too, for yourself and others that put this together, this forum and stuff like that, to kind of continue this hobby. I mean, where I'm at here, there was a small club way back in the 80s. It was about 6 or 7 guys that got together once a month, hosted a BBS, and that's about all. It seemed like it was a small world, like no one else out there other than the magazine, like we talked about, but to reach out and be able to see, who's all out there and how far stretching this is. I mean, we got people from all corners now that are on this forum, and it's pretty amazing. This technology and how it's been able to bring such a large group of people together. So that's really cool. So thank you.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, and it's interesting. I think the community was just as big, if not bigger, but we didn't have the tools to connect us like we do now. So technology makes a difference,
Yeah, the closest we had back then would be BBSs and I guess CompuServe and Delphi, but you had to be able to afford those.
Like I never would have imagined going to a Rainbow Fest, but I did have a local computer club in Miami, and it was probably a decent size. We might have had 20 or 30 people, and when you think about it, even 20 people and just for a hometown computer club is a pretty good number of people who would get together on a regular basis. There might be a lot of people who own the computers, but when you're dedicated enough to, be part of a community back then and just have club meetings and talk about software and share software and it was like a show and tell all the time. So, you got to see new products would come out. I remember when I got the XPad and I had written my own drawing program for the XPad. I did a show and tell and showed off the XPad and showed off my little drawing program I made for it and stuff, So, that was kind of neat, but, I didn't think about the scope or the scale of it, but, 20 people to share with was kind of cool. But, now we have, hundreds that we know of that, we are almost directly seeing from on a daily basis on like Facebook and stuff, So
yeah, we're talking on Discord.
Yeah. So
yep,
it's amazing.
In Toledo, we had maybe 100 people back in the 80s, early 80s, mid 80s. Then it dwindled down to 5 or 10 by the middle 90s. But
it's like being late at the nightclub, right? It's like you get the last 2 or 3 people left at the club.
One more round. But we went through the same thing too, like our Saskatoon. I mean, we're not a big city, but I think, and Bill, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we had up to around 50 people in the club that were fairly regular, probably about the 84, 85 time frame. Then gradually died down in the 90s too. But the BBS scene in the 90s was what kind of kept us all together, because there was FidoNet, OS9 and Coco Echoes, as they were called back then, which are basically shared message boards that go all over the planet.
Yeah,
kind of like pre-internet.
Same thing at our club. Same thing.
Yeah, and then we had the listserv and the Princeton and all kinds of things too, and then CompuServe and Delphi and everything else too for immediate or close to immediate chat, but nothing like this where we could just actually literally see each other demonstrate programs for everybody all over the world. That's new, and that I think's really helped kickstart it back up.
Excellent. And joining us, Rick Adams is with us. Hello, happy Thanksgiving, Rick. How are you? You're muted.
Why, so I am.
You're unmuted now.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm doing great. He was such a quiet fellow.
I noticed you've been having fun with the Gimme chip lately.
Yeah. Well, it seems like every time I did anything that was exclusively Gimme, that didn't have some of the old SAM and BTG stuff, every time I would try it, everything just went straight to hell. And so this is about the fourth time I've tried to do something that was exclusively Gimme, and with a lot of people's help, I finally made it work. So I feel all really proud of myself now. So I'm having fun.
Excellent.
Yeah, it takes a bit to get used to. I remember going through the same thing myself. So just keep going at it. I mean, you knew some of it from Shanghai, but now you're getting into the fancy stuff.
That's the thing. Yeah.
I'm still going through it. Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever done a fast IRQ interrupt handler. So it's absolutely the first time for me. So the fact that I've got like interrupt-driven sound, and now I've got a laser sound that can run concurrently with the graphics. For Temple of Rom, all I could do when you fired the laser, it looks terrific when you fire the laser and it hits the wall and all these little shrapnel flies everywhere. But the most sound I could get was this pathetic ticka 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 ticka, and that's all I could do. So now I'm I'm hitting the thing and it's like it's like, yes, that's what I wanted.
Ooh, I want to hear that.
And the graphic doesn't slow down at all.
Yeah, you put up a demo video, I think, on Discord.
Oh, well, you can actually.
You can demo it live.
Yeah, I did. Let's see if I can get close enough that you can actually. Yeah, let me turn it up.
It's a real manly explosion. Yeah, hell yeah.
If you can show the screen too.
Let's turn this around.
Everything's going.
Yeah, let me try here.
Look at this. Yeah, and it doesn't interfere with the scrolling.
Multitasking.
Yeah. Now that's what I'm talking about.
Pew 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 pew.
Yeah.
You should do a digital recording of yourself going pew 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 and make that the sound effect.
Or even ticka ticka sound.
I could.
Ticka ticka. Yeah, but you just record your own voice going ticka ticka ticka.
Right.
I got your laser beam right here. Ticka ticka ticka.
So I found an MP3 of a laser sound on the internet and downloaded it. It's like about a second of sound. And Simon, I can't pronounce his last name.
Jonason.
Invisible Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. He converted it to raw data for me. And I got to learn that step so that I can do it. So then I can record myself going pew pew pew, and I can
pew 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 pew,
or have me, I can make myself saying, "No, we gotcha,
we gotcha."
Yeah, if you digitize this in uncompressed WAV or something like that, it's actually a lot easier than trying to do an MP3. But
well, yeah, I have, I can convert an MP3 to a WAV file. But it has like a header, it has a trailer, it has metadata tacked on the end. I got to figure out how to save out just raw data.
Yeah.
And
I sent you the source code
that.
for the play command that actually does do all that stuff and strips all that crap out when I'm playing WAV files. So if you want to use any of that code, go right ahead.
Right. But I have like commercial products that can do it. I just don't know exactly the steps to do it yet. So Simon did it for me, this time, but I want to learn how to do it myself. So I need to not monopolize the program. So I should probably shut up now.
No, that's fine. That's fine. This is all about sharing. So Well, we're glad to have you with us today on this day of giving thanks. We also have a late addition to the show, but we're always glad to have him too. Speaking of prolific, Jim Gary is with us. How's it going, eh? Jim, can you hear us? All right. Well, we'll get back. We're getting a little sound loop there too. Bill Noble, how are you doing?
Oh, pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just thankful for a few things myself.
Yeah.
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Jim. If you're listening to us on YouTube, you might want to mute that because I'm hearing a little bit of.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Hello. How are you, Jim? I know you got to wait your turn because you waited too long to respond. So we're talking to Bill. We'll come back to you. How you doing, Bill?
Oh, pretty good. Well, as a few of you already know, I just acquired a nice new X-Pad. Haven't got it yet, but looks like it's going to be a new one in box.
Good.
Yeah, Jim, you got to mute yourself, dude. I'm muting Jim for the time being until you can do something about your sound, and I'll unmute you. Yeah, I think Chet Simpson was talking about that on Discord last night. How I guess you guys were both bidding on one of them. That was
the same one. We kind of bantered back and forth earlier in the afternoon, and then I just figured, well, hang on a second. This thing is going to end at 2:00 in the morning for me. So I'm going to set my alarm and just leave it alone.
Yeah. There are some pro tips to eBay bidding, and one of them is to not have it auto bid for you.
Yeah.
And you almost want to wait until like the last minute of the thing and just start manually bidding random numbers to screw with everybody else's auto bids, so or something like that. Richard Lorbieski tried to explain it to me one time, and I kind of sort of get it, but I just the best thing is this don't like have it auto bid, just have it on watch, and when it's down to like the last minute is when you start manually throwing some weird numbers. Hold on, what are you saying there? Happy Thanksgiving. Yes, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, Jim Gary. Have you fixed your sound? And you need to be. We lost him. Oh, maybe hopefully we didn't offend Jim Gary.
Did you see Jim's comment in the chat?
Jim.
Retro Innovations.
Which one? A while ago.
He says, "I give thanks that most of the folks in this show have emerged from their parents' basements."
Oh yeah, that was a while ago. I saw that. Yeah. So you got your X-Pad, Bill. That's cool. Is that your first one you have, or?
Yeah, actually, a friend of Curtis and mine had one many years ago, and I played with it. Yeah, and I actually really liked the darn thing.
Yeah,
so I'm going to actually enjoy having it, even though it's not going to work with the equipment I have until I get a 12-volt source. But
okay.
Chet was mentioning that too, but he also wants to update his Image Master to support it as well. So,
So yeah, talk about an obscure device that we're already talking about how we would like software to support things and support sound and support other things, but the X-Pad is a neat peripheral. But I'm sure the people that own them, you could count on probably a couple of hands. So to develop anything for that would be, and it's such an obscure device because you would have to have a multi-pack. You've got to have a multi-pack that supports 12 volts, which means it has to be a...
Can I interrupt here?
Yeah.
I just tried out my multi-pack with a program off the SDC. It's a X-Pad demo, and it worked perfectly with my Coco 3 and my MPI, and it worked. I mean,
which MPI are you using?
The newer one. It's been fixed, It worked. So why would I need to worry about 12 volts when mine worked?
Well, if yours works, it works. But the other thing it won't do on a Coco 3 is I don't think it'll run at double speed. So if you were writing a program to run into full speed, it wouldn't work.
Well, maybe that's the case.
From what I remember, the tablet needed 12 volts to run, which the Coco 1 had, but the Coco 2 and the Coco 3 do not supply. But I think the multipack does supply 12, if I remember, doesn't it, Bill?
That was my
not the newer white ones. Not the newer white ones. No.
Oh, like the angled ones that weren't rounded?
Yeah.
How is it mine works then?
You've got one. It must be supplying 12 volts. That's the only way it can work. So
If you go to Ron's garage, I have a demo, and I drew pictures of, pictures on my. Was one color. It's just a demo that does it in one color, but it worked. I was able to clear screen.
Now we're going to have to experiment when it gets here.
Yeah.
yeah. But it would be neat to take advantage of that because it is, all this talk about high-res joystick interfaces. That was definitely a high-res interface. And, you could do some interesting things. Imagine taking a game like Double Back where you're taking your pen to circle the bad guys and stuff. That would be kind of cool,
Oh, and
for sure.
It also does text.
Oh, like you could do handwriting with it or whatever?
No, it does a text. You can type words across, on the high-res screen with graphics. You can draw and then you can type text.
Oh, on the demo that you ran?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Neat. Yeah. Yeah, and I had written a demo years ago. I wish I remember all the stuff I did, but it was, it lets you do circles and paints and lines and boxes and fills, and I had all kinds of weird pokes where I could paint in different patterns, like checkerboard or like plaid-looking patterns and stuff like that. And I remember doing some funky stuff, and I had a fairly robust basic program for doing XPad artwork, that only I could use because nobody had an XPad and a multi-pack, but it was just it was a fun project.
The pen worked. I put a piece of paper in there and drew.
Oh yeah, it's like a real pen too. Like it's got ink in it.
It worked.
Yeah.
Still had ink.
Yeah, its biggest problem, besides being incompatible with the Coco 3 and the later Coco 2s, I think was just when it first came out, it was so expensive. It was as much as the computer itself.
Yeah.
If I remember right, Curtis, it was like $300.
No, it was $479 or something like that when it first came out. It was up there.
Yeah, I used to, when I worked at the computer center, I played around. I got a chance to play around with it there. I didn't know anyone who owned one. The store owned one. That's it.
Yeah. It really makes you wonder, when we talk about...
Tell me why did Tandy do that?
What were they thinking their market was with this device?
Can I read you what it says on the box here?
Please do, Ron.
Says, transfers graphic input directly to screen using extended basic command set. Plugs into ROM, whatever. It also says ideal for medical, CAD/CAM, architectural, educational, business, and other graphic applications. That's what it had in mind for this, evidently.
And how many architects use the Coco for anything architectural?
I mean, for CAD/CAM, you'd be a bit limited with a 256 by 192 screen.
Yeah. So it's almost like it's a device that's more sophisticated than the platform it was designed for. I mean, it's cool. I'm glad they made it, but you would almost think that this would have been better suited to like a Model 4 with a high-res interface because that was a more businessy machine. People were used to spend.
I think the XPad came out before the high-res interface for the
Okay.
We probably were the only computer Tandy had that had a resolution
that had graphics,
high enough to even warrant it. So,
what other computer line would have had something like that?
Well, the thing I like about it is, I looked in the manual, and that thing has like almost 32 different status levels on that pen alone, on where it is and what it's doing.
yeah, well, I remember it even could detect if you were hovering above it, like if you're not touching versus
right, because that's what my software did. I was moving a little crosshair on the screen as I was moving, and then when you apply pressure is when it would do things like, so if you wanted to draw a line, you would highlight your first point, and then I would actually have it like let me see where the line was going before I applied the second point, so I could stretch and move it and stuff, and then do point to point like vector based stuff with the pen. It was kind of neat, and I think it just I think you just peeked it all off the thing, didn't it? I don't think it really added any actual commands. I don't remember.
Folks, when I remember.
Yeah. So
one thing I can tell you which was cool was when you write with it, you don't have to worry about going slow, so the computer can keep up with it. It did pretty well. I wrote Happy Thanksgiving in pretty much a normal way without going too fast or too slow, and it kept up fine.
Yeah, I've got one, and I was thinking about maybe writing something for it, but I just wonder how, what's the market? Who's got an XPad? Not that I'm trying to sell the software, I would give it away, but it's just like, if you're making XPad-based software, how many people are actually going to be able to use it? So
Well, for sure, it'd be Ron, you, Bill, and
Chet
does want it to work with his Image Master tile editor and stuff. So you could do some of your game design with it.
One thing you can do is
Chet actually brought up the thing he wants to call us the XPads now.
The XPads, huh?
That's right.
You could
and
take
one
a
thing,
picture and put it on this pad and draw on the face, and to make a drawing of the person's face. You can take it also and make, if somebody wanted you to draw something for, I don't know, maybe a part or something, you could draw the part and explain it while you're drawing it,
Like do some digital whiteboard type stuff or something, right? So, yeah.
Ron, I was going to ask
Another
you,
thing.
did you use this on your signs and when you were doing your sign business?
I didn't because, I used that digitizer and took pictures with the camera, and then, no, I never really drew with that much.
Okay, because I know the digitizer, like you had a DS69B, that came out a couple
I used that
and
and took pictures of a person's building, and then used CoCoMax and put the sign on the building, and was able to show him what the sign looked like before he bought it.
Okay, I didn't know if you used the XPad for your sign business before the digitizers came out, because that was a few years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing about that that Curtis was talking about with the 256 by 192 limitation is through programming you could create a larger virtual environment, and even use the pad to be able to select a function that would let you use the pen as kind of a move tool to
pan.
Yeah, just
pan the different windows.
Yeah, because I think there were some periphery stuff outside the tablet area. You could touch them to like select modes and stuff, right? Because there was that little cardboard overlay with the holes in it.
Yeah,
because you could pick colors. And...
You could, yeah. So that would be kind of interesting. I wonder how it would work if something like, well, I don't know if Graphicom would have supported it or not. So it'd be kind of interesting.
Or not? Was there a patch for it?
So other than not working in high speed mode, it should be compatible with the Coco 3. So if somebody wanted to use this to do some stuff on the higher resolution graphics mode, that might be better suited towards, it's the 320 or 640 resolution mode, right? So
yeah. I mean, here's another plug for the 6309 too, because it can't run at the double clock speed, but a 6309 in native mode is still running at the original clock speed unless you bump it up. So you could actually run faster on a 639 chip if you wrote a 639 native mode program for it.
Better, faster, stronger. Right?
Yeah, it's bionic.
It's not every day I get to quote Kanye West, so I try to whenever possible. So that's awesome. That's awesome. So did you tell us what you're thankful for, Bill, other than L. Curtis Boyle?
Why would I be thankful for that? Well, the other one is Richard Lobieski from Boyson Tech, because I picked up my 2 meg upgrade.
Nice.
So if anybody wants a 512 triad board,
it's actually secretly a 1 meg board if you want to add a wire to it.
Yeah, when I'm going to break down and do the 2 meg upgrade as well too, just because I want to be ready for the new games and everything else. I've already got the 6309, so I'm lucky there. But go big or go home. So
you can finally play the entire CoCoTALK theme song then too.
Yes,
that's right.
You get most of it on the Matchbox, but
and all of its low fidelity glory. Right, so
it's not too bad.
Yeah,
that's not.
It'll play full 8-bit if you have an Orchestra 90 plug in.
Yeah. And I do apologize. I have not been on top of every chat message that's been coming through here, so I'm going to scroll back and just see if we've missed anybody other than Jim Brain that we need to acknowledge here.
That's more of a missed on purpose.
Yes, Mark D. Overholz was here. Tim Franklin was here. Carl, whose name I'll never be able to pronounce. Bill Noble, Curtis Boyle, Ken Reichert is here. Hey, Ken, how are you? Ken, Curtis Boyle, Amin Echo, Stone. Was saying I'm thankful for being a Brit in Texas. So, and who else? Carl's here. Okay, what else? Scrolling through here. Retro Innovations. Do we have to be thankful for this show? It is completely optional, Jim. You do not have to be thankful for this show.
See, I told him he had to be thankful because it's Thanksgiving, but just for today. After that, he can go back.
And Jim Gary on Facebook. And Jim, come back. I'm sorry if I offended you. Happy Thanksgiving. Trina K says, I'm thankful to be a Coco widow. Okay, so I wonder who Trina is, the widow too. Earlier when Rick Adams was talking about changing sound formats, Tim Franklin was mentioning Audacity is a program that can convert audio formats to different sample rates and frequencies. So if you need to downsample, something from stereo to mono, stuff like that. And I'm not sure if Rick heard you, Curtis, but Rick, are you still there?
I am here now.
Yeah, so
I was gone for a little bit.
Yeah, Curtis had mentioned, and I'm not sure if you actually heard him, but he said he sent you the source code.
Oh, yes, I heard that.
Okay, you did. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
I have Audacity.
Okay. And then earlier,
the program and the character trait.
Yes. Earlier too, Retro Innovation says, I'm thankful that some of the people on the show have made it out of their mother's basements.
Yeah.
Mark Bosley was when we were talking about are all the multi-packs supplying 12 volts. He says the service manual for the newer multi-packs does say it does provide plus and minus 12 volts. So I'm wondering if it's just a mini multi-pack that doesn't do it. I'm not sure. So
no, the mini doesn't. Ed's mini doesn't, but Ed does state in his documentation that it is wired for it, but it's not actually there.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, you're right. Ed doesn't.
And Arvell Bess is here. Hello, Arvell. I think Jim Brain's 8-port is 12 volt compliant.
Yeah, I'm not positive on that. He'll have to answer that if he's done trolling for a few seconds.
Yeah. Jason Downs is here now. Carl is here. We were talking about Ed Snyder and the Gimme X, and you got the closest thing to a Coco 4. Tim Franklin said if you have a Super Deluxe X pad, it could be called a Maxi pad.
Speaking of the Gimme X, what's the story with that? Has there been an announcement as to what features it will have beyond emulating? I understand it's going to completely emulate a Gimme chip, but it's also going to do more, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's got direct VGA output, and there's some room left over from other stuff. I guess he's working with Becker, the guy who did the Coco FPGA, and they're thinking about implementing some of the stuff that's on the Coco FPGA extensions to the Gimme, depending on the amount of room and stuff, and then getting drivers and stuff done. So cool. I don't know if there's an official list of what's actually going to be supported yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the earliest Facebook post when he kind of explained that it was, I guess, phase 1 is it's just going to be a Gimme replacement. No extra features VGA out. So it goes in line to, it plugs into where the Gimme goes, but it has built-in VGA out. And no additional features on the first release, but I guess there is ability for it to be kind of upgraded to add more functionality down the road since it is kind of FPGA. Jim Brain, Retro Innovations, is confirming that yes, the 8-port multi-pack device of his does supply plus 12 volts, and it's switched even. So
David Ladd could run 8 X pads at once.
Yeah, screw David Ladd, right? So yeah.
Where's all of his octopus arms?
I still don't even know what the hell. That guy is he's a nut, right? So he's sitting here talking about why the hell do you need more than 2, serial ports at the same time? You might have 15 serial devices, but how many are you going to use at once? Other than David Ladd. And he would probably only do it just to say, yes, I was able to hook up all this crap at the same time. But how many real people are going to do real things that require multiple serial ports?
Well, I mean, we could do the same thing Bill and I did at work. You can actually set up a BBS, especially if you have 2 meg RAM, where you can have 8 users calling at once on separate lines and play head-to-head games against each other.
Oh, there's an idea.
Yeah, I've done it.
You could be online with one
I had 2 users on my
RS-232.
board plus me playing Galactic, whatever, the one Keith Alfonso did back in the day.
You could be online with one RS-232 and print with the other.
So DriveWire would be one reason.
Yeah.
A serial mouse if you wanted to use that
a
too.
serial mouse, a printer. So now we're talking now. But again, are you going to be doing all the? I guess could you be doing all three of these things at once? DriveWire, serial mouse, and printing all at the same time. I suppose that's
you could. Yeah.
Running a BBS in the background.
Under nitrous would be pretty easy actually.
right. So I mean, but in this day and age, I don't know. Maybe you guys are all freaking insane. I mean, yeah. I mean, do you seriously? Are you guys going to be doing a 4 freaking serial port situation right now, where you need to have all that crap hooked up at the same time?
Is
I
there a
have
need for
toyed
more
with the idea of doing a multi-user BBS again, running on the Coco itself.
Okay, well that's a
Because
special
you can
kind
have
of.
actual chats. You could actually have like a mini Discord chat room on actually running on a Coco itself.
Right. And it's like, why use things like the internet and modern software when we can?
Well, I'll give you one example. If you set it up with an actual upload-download section, people could submit programs up there, and you can download them and immediately run them. You don't have to transfer them to a card. You don't have to transfer them to the PC. You don't have to fire them through DriveWire. It's there. You just run it in the other window. So if you want to do some testing of some software stuff.
Yeah. It's interesting. I just, I don't know. I mean,
I know it doesn't float your boat, but
yeah, no, it definitely doesn't. But that's okay. I'm just trying to think how many. I'm not every Coco user, so you got your Curtis Boyles, your Bill Nobles, and your David Ladds, and maybe even Ron Delvaux that are going to want to plug in 3 or 4 serial things. You guys are power users, I guess, right? How many?
Yeah, Ron is a power user for sure.
Yeah, a modem and a line printer.
Yeah. So what about
2? I guess.
What about the rest of you guys on the panel? Jason, John, Brian. How many serial ports would you guys need to use at any given time?
Oh, geez. Usually 0.
Going hard.
Well, I just had the multi-pack there, so I could have the multiple, as the name implies, have the multiple cartridges plugged in. I guess that was my main thing, kind of switching back and forth between them. But I see both sides of it, like you're saying. I mean, today's world, do you really need it on a day-to-day basis? For me, no. But there's times, it might be kind of fun to go ahead and try to plug it all in and make it all work again, just to look back and just, do it the way that we used to do it, I guess, more of the novelty. That for me, that's where I would be with it, I guess.
I'll just give one example. The serial mouse, I don't know if you've ever tried running one on a Coco, Steve, but it's basically, it's non-jittery, unlike when the high-res joystick interface is plugged in. It's just rock solid. And it takes way less CPU time, because the more you move to the right and down on the high-res interface, it has to keep resampling over and over.
Okay.
For that resolution, it literally starts to slow the computer down a little bit, especially if you're multitasking. With the serial mouse, that's gone. It runs full speed the whole time, and smoother. So
but that's pretty much an OS 9 only thing. That's not going to work on Coco's, like RS-DOS type stuff, right?
Yeah, unless you wrote some sort of nano
specific software for it. Yeah.
Right.
Or, even a specific driver that could, stay resident. Almost like adding a function.
TSR style thing.
Okay, so Carl's saying the only serial device he would care about would be Alan Huffman's Sur Sound. So, and that can run off the Bitbanger port, so you don't necessarily need to have multiple RS-232s for that.
Well, a real RS-232.
You could actually have more than one Sur Sound with multiple RS-232 packs.
Ooh.
And way less CPU overhead, because a Bitbanger, you're literally jamming 1 bit at a time, so the computer has to do 8 things to send out 1 byte, whereas on an RS-32 pack, it's just 1 write. So it's literally 8 times faster as far as CPU overhead is concerned. So you have more time to play the game than play sound.
And Richard Lorbieski has joined us. Hello, Richard. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving to you guys. Hello.
Bill Noble actually said he was thankful for you in particular. Mentioned you by name, Richard.
Oh my God, really? I'm so sorry.
Spoken like an honorary Canadian.
Well, I bought one of your 2 meg boards, so.
Yeah, actually, I was going to tell you that you were the 100th person, or the 100th board that was sold.
Wow,
oh, really?
That's awesome.
Oh wow, so he gets a free return?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, he gets a free oven mitt.
Oh, there we go.
No, actually, I was going to send you another DAT board so you can actually modify your 512 and make it a 1 meg if you want to.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool, but I've only got one Coco 3, so.
Well, you can now buy another Coco 3.
Yeah, okay.
So there you go.
Hey, you got your Coco 3 yet?
You need another Coco 3, Bill. So, here's a question from Carl in the live chat. It says, Coco experts, would a Coco joystick adapter to Atari PS2 adapter or PS2 mouse work?
Only on Tuesdays after 4 p.m.
During a full moon.
Yeah, I would say probably not. I don't know for sure, but I would. A Coco joystick adapter to Atari PS2. Does such an animal exist?
I don't even know. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Actually, Jimmer's responding. He says no because the Coco to Atari just converts the digital portion of the stick.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And we need analog. Yeah.
So, Richard, what are you thankful for this year? It doesn't even have to be Coco related, but I'm sure you got things to be thankful for.
I'm just, my mind is at a mush right now, so I just got in. So.
Okay. Did you have turkey today?
Oh yes.
Food coma?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. Good times. Good times. Now, I guess everybody's gone. I guess I now have to make up some type of story now, right? So, what I'm thankful for, I'll get back to you on that. So,
well, one other thing is kind of interesting to be kind of thankful for, I guess, in a strange sort of way is, and we kind of tipped on it a little bit, is eBay. Meaning,
true.
Look at all this stuff that people had bought over the years. Had there not been a platform like eBay, where would all this stuff be?
Right.
Landfills still sitting in garages collecting dust. For those of us that are interested in the hobby, that people are able to put that stuff out there for us to spend our hard-earned money on. So
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But I mean, there's things that from where I'm at around here, I do go and hop into the different flea markets around town here and stuff from time to time, and there's very rarely is there ever anything there. So for me to be able to locate stuff like this versus maybe a large city or something like that where there might be more opportunity to stumble across stuff on garage sales or other, I mean, eBay is my only source.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
And that's true. Yep.
Yeah.
I saw a Coco 2 on Etsy for $600.
Oh, wow.
What
Great.
a deal.
Hey, I just noticed Jason Downs is wearing a
40.
Yeah, I just noticed Jason Downs is wearing an I am a coconut shirt. So thank you for that. That's cool. Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely thankful for my family. And my wife puts up with me and all my crap and my kids, and I'm thankful for the career I have that was definitely launched and inspired by the Coco that got me interested in computers and technology, and definitely meeting all these knuckleheads here in the community has been a great thing too. So it's hard to believe it's been like 3 years already, I think, since I got into this crazy world. If I had to do it all over again, I would have started, a lot sooner. So, because there's a lot I've missed out on. So that's been great. And Salvador Garcia just stopped by. Hey, Salvador, saying hi. I'm just dropping in for a wee while. No, it's been great. Honestly, it's like then Saturday afternoon getting together and just hanging out is like, that's my part of the week I look forward to, because I got so many other things I have to do that this is my escape from the rest of the real world, So being able to just check in on Facebook once in a while, see what people are doing, like, John's little Space Invaders demo, which is really cool, and this gives people food for thought and gives people the stuff to look at and think about and talk about. And everybody's out there just doing something or asking a question or posting a picture or bringing up a subject, and it helps fuel our show. I mean, our show is like 90% Facebook rehash. It's just like the talk soup version of Facebook. So, but we have something to talk about every week because there's things going on. And we get together and we got these friends. We have this club, this meeting, and these friendships that span the globe. It's really cool. So, I'm thankful for all of that and all you guys and all the widows and everybody else. And, God bless us, everyone.
I'm thankful for the Coco archive. A great place to hang out.
Yeah.
That and having the SDC is a great thing.
Coco
And,
SDC. God bless the Coco SDC.
Drivewire is cool too. Drivewire is good too.
Yeah, screwdriver.
All those inventions are awesome.
Yeah, and because for me, the Coco SDC makes me not need drive wire for the most part, you know?
Yeah, but if your drive wire breaks,
In a lot of ways, that's true, Steve.
Yeah, so I'm lazy and I'm really shallow. So as long as I can play games off an SD card, my world is good, you know? And I don't have a very narrow view of what I need to do on my machine. So.
You saw Jim's comment?
Yeah, Steve's mostly thankful for me. Absolutely, Jim. We're thankful for Jim Brain and Retro Innovations. Without him, nothing is possible. Amen. I'm
also thankful for Jim Gary's little turkey demo he did for.
Yeah, well, let's cue that up since Jim is not here. We offended him or his internet or one of the above. So let me switch the screen over here where you guys can see this. I'm not sure what you guys are looking at, what you can see, but the people at home should be able to see this. Yeah. All right. So this is fresh from YouTube.
Oh.
And the suspense is killing me.
Oh, you missed an S.
Happy Thanksgiving, CoCoTALK. All right. Happy Thanksgiving. Run. Ooh, look at that.
It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
I thought it was David Ladd's head for a minute, so.
Too much hair.
Hey, it's the Great Turkey. Yay. Thank you, Jim Gary. I just want to say...
thank you. Yes, you're too kind, and thank you.
Good stuff. D. Bruce Moore says, Coco rules. Coco forever. Yes. So, yeah, I guess we have to be thankful for Canada because there's a lot of Canadian coconuts out there doing some crazy stuff for us. So, thank you.
We can also be thankful for Jim Brain's warranty returns.
Yes. Oh, man.
I think that's definitely something out there to be thankful for is the community of hardware guys out there that make these memory expansions and like Coco VGA and the Gimme X and just a whole plethora of cool things out there that are being developed, in this day and age for the Coco. I think that's just amazing, and it's definitely something for us as a community to be thankful for, that there's still people out there not just creating more software but even more hardware.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Coco SDC is just it's a life changer.
Yeah.
It really is. So
I'm thankful they made floppies that last 40 years.
That's true too.
Yeah.
I still got boxes and boxes to go through, but yeah, I'm going through, and most of them.
I have most of all of mine work. My floppy drives all work, and I have maybe 6 or 10 of them. I don't know.
Yeah,
mine read just fine after the third time or so.
Mine still works.
Paul Thayer just jumped on Facebook, said, "Hey dudes, floppies." I'm sorry, Ron. Go ahead.
Come on the show. Tell them.
No, yeah, come on the show, Paul. Yeah, Bruce Morris. Bruce, why aren't you joining us, Bruce? Bruce says, "Sure hope Jim Brain can pull off that sound option for the SDC." Yeah, that would be neat. And I do want to pick Jim's brain about something too. It's trade secret type stuff. So we'll have to talk about that in private. But I've got an idea for the next big thing. Yeah. I mean, sound is everybody's chewing on sound, so it'd be interesting to see what comes of that.
I already thought of the cup holders, so.
Oh, okay. What about the toaster oven? Have you thought of that one too?
Damn. Okay.
I have an idea of a toaster oven with blinky lights, so it's going to be huge. D. Bruce, join us. That awkward silence.
Where's the crickets?
Yes,
I guess one thing we should mention is that there still is a regular show on Saturday too. I had to ask Steve because I wasn't sure if you guys.
Oh yeah. This is not a replacement. This is just a. This is a filler. This is a little bonus. Little bonus. Little something. Little something to stick to stuff in your stocking, right? So, little turkey stuffer. Gobble gobble.
I will mention one other thing. This isn't coming up for a while yet, but the guy that did, if you guys saw last week's episode where we had that little bit at the end with Phantom Slayer being played with virtual reality hardware, I got in contact with the person there, and he's just about to go on holidays for about a month, but he's going to be coming on for an interview probably around December 15th or maybe the week after.
That'd be great.
So get to see how he set that all up, and it works with other games too.
Yeah. Bruce Moore says the Coco Archive found my lost T&D software. So some stuff that Bruce had submitted in the past, he now has access to. So, yeah, that's kind of cool.
So he's thankful for it too.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to. I would love to be able to find any of my old Coco stuff just to see it. I mean, I would probably look at it now and probably cringe at most of it, but it's really just like it's a slice of, of history, and it's like I would really just love to see it, just to remember the things I made and. So
Have you ever tried contacting? Because you said you gave your Coco system to somebody back in the day.
No, I didn't give it to anybody. What had happened was somebody was borrowing it, and they had it like in their apartment, and then they kind of got kicked out, and they got evicted or whatever. So the stuff was just gone.
Oh,
so
okay. It didn't go with them anywhere. It just
no, it just disappeared off the face of the earth. But I had everything up until like the early 90s. So I had all my original floppies until then, and in just pure ignorance, they were gone. So.
Yeah, I've got some of my old floppies. I've got a lot of stuff that I just started or was, fiddling with as I was learning stuff. I might throw some of that stuff up just for laughs. It's
yeah.
Except for the couple of games I did for Rainbow. And those make me cringe when I look at them now.
The other thing that's cool is when you're going through your floppies, you wrote on what was on the floppy.
Right.
And sometimes when you see that, you can remember writing it or the times of writing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I found like an old notebook of a bunch of pictures I drew like in middle school and stuff. I used to like imagine games I would write one day, and I drew the artwork for them. So like I would draw like Donkey Kong games and Dig Dug games and draw stuff of games I dreamed I would make one day. So I found like some of those old, comic book style drawings that I did. So it is kind of neat to find something you did way back then, just to, kind of connect those 2 points in time,
Yeah. I know one thing I found recently, just digging through some old stuff in an old box. Unfortunately, I don't have it up here. I would show you guys, but I was really into playing Gates of Delirium, which is the Ultima clone that Dicom put out. And I found all the old graph paper with all the maps meticulously shaded in and stuff for like the planets and 12 of the dungeons or something like that. So it's just pages of maps. All done
hours of your life.
7 months.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I blew an entire summer playing that game, and I actually did win it at the end because they had a prize. If you were one of the first 5, I think, to solve it, you got a free Coco 3.
Oh, wow.
And I won it. I sent it in, and he said, "Nope, you're too late. We already gave away the
how convenient, right?" So.
Yeah, gave it to Paul Fiscarelli.
He sure got his cash there, didn't he?
Yeah, so there's a story there that we're still going to wait to hear the outcome from. But not only is the story just the haul that he got, but the Lisp interpreter that the owner of that works on, we're really hoping that we can connect those dots on what that product was, and maybe find some of the magazines it was in, and if it was an OS 9 or RS-DOS version of the software and stuff. So that'll be really interesting. So not only is it just an incredible collection of Cocos, I think it's 23 Cocos that he got in one time, plus just boxes of books and peripherals and accessories, and but that it came from somebody, a couple that made and sold Coco software, that they were bagging it up themselves and everything. So that's kind of cool,
Yeah. Hoping we can figure all that out, because it looks pretty interesting. I do remember hearing about a list back in the day, but I never saw it, so I don't have a clue what came from.
And Paul Thayer has joined us. So happy Thanksgiving, Paul. How are you?
Happy Thanksgiving. How are you guys?
Good. We're just living past the food coma at this point,
Hey, Jason, are you familiar with the program Paul wrote at all?
Who are you asking that to?
Jason.
Who's Jason?
Timberman. Jason Downs.
Oh, Jason Downs. Oh, hello. That Jason.
A new guy.
I haven't played it yet.
No? But have you familiar with it?
I've seen it.
Yeah, okay. Just wondering.
Cool.
And speaking of new games, Hugo put up some new screenshots from his upcoming game that look really impressive too. So
yeah,
a lot of game development going on right now.
Newer than what you guys talked about last week?
Yep. Just today.
Wow.
On Facebook.
Oh man, you can't take a day off of Facebook. You're gonna miss something, huh?
So rehashing Facebook is not bad.
No,
it's good.
Yeah, it's basically to catch Steve up, because apparently he's way behind. But
yeah.
I'll see if I can grab the link. I'll throw it in the Zoom chat.
Man, did you have a good Thanksgiving, Paul?
Yeah, it was it was pretty laid kind of low. Just went to the in-laws and had Thanksgiving dinner at like 1. Was in a food coma about 2. Then we went home around 4, and it's been kind of hanging out since then. And
cool.
I just came downstairs to do some coding, and I see that you guys are on here talking, so I thought I would at least listen. So.
Yeah, so we've been talking a little bit too about what we're thankful for. Anything you're thankful for this year?
Lots of things, man. My father-in-law actually, when he did his prayer, gave us like a couple moments of silence to think about what we were thankful for. And I told him I ran out of time. Honestly, things are going pretty good for me. So if I had to tell you everything I was thankful for, it would take a very long time. I'm
That's
a
a good thing.
guy right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but this was kind of funny. The other day, I was listening to the radio on the way into work, and they wanted people to call or text in who they didn't want to see for the holiday, right? And I couldn't think of anybody. And so I started thinking to myself, maybe I'm that guy. Which I later found out wasn't true, but I thought that was kind of fortunate for me that there isn't anybody on the holidays that I'm just like, oh, I'd have to see this person again. So
yeah,
it doesn't
that's
happen.
great.
So that's cool. So I didn't hear any of your guys' stuff, but I guess the thing that I'm most thankful for is being able to be in the position that I am in right now, just in life in general, music wise, hobby wise with the color computer, work wise, marriage wise, all that stuff. Don't have anything to talk about. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Very good. That's great to hear. You don't get to hear that all the time, so it's nice when you do, right? We got a news flash here from Bruce Moore. He just said, "I've just learned that my C Basic project got so big, I ran out of memory." So whatever he was doing in C Basic just hit the glass ceiling there. Huh? So, yeah.
Oh no.
I just sent the link in the Zoom chat there for Hugo's update if you want to take a look there, Steve.
Okay, let's take a look at that. Where's my Zoom chat link thingy? All right, so we're going to switch back over to left screen again. And, okay, let's...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's actually, like, on my Facebook feed anyway, it's right underneath your window to watch this show.
Okay, so that looks really good there.
Yeah, he has an update in his...
Yeah, in the comments, he's got an update because he said that some of the leaves look too pointy.
Right.
Okay, so that was
minuscule complaint. So it all looks
Yeah.
really awesome.
yeah, and it is unfortunately they don't scale very well. So
That's actually not the game. That's another game somebody was comparing with.
Okay, and so the image itself is not scaling too good, but yeah, okay, so now this looks really good. You know, it's amazing with having only 16 colors how you can make it look not so obvious that your color you're that restricted. So
Don't you only have a 64 color palette to choose
from? Yeah, honestly.
Well, that dark red, like I found this with my graphic development stuff too, is it's very it blends well with the browns as well as the reds. So when you have it next to the brown, like palette 34 on RGB,
Okay.
it looks very dark brown. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's like a bonus color.
Yep. So when it's sitting against red, it looks like it belongs with the red. So it's really cool. So
It's almost like artifacting.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, kind of blends. It teases your eye.
Yeah, I know Dave Dyes used that in Iron Force to great use for some of the background trees and stuff when you're nights wandering around the forest.
Yeah, I wish I had that ability to play that with that gun right now, because I was able to load it up, like at least to the title screen. The graphics are pretty impressive in that. So from what I've seen, but
If
I've
I
never
remember,
played
MAME
it.
has an option for faking the gun with the mouse.
No way. What'll they think of next?
It was in there at one point. I hope they haven't broken it, so they have a habit of breaking things every once in a while. But...
Well, I think if you run the Coco 3 in MAME, it will emulate the light gun with the mouse pointer and give you a crosshair, just like if you were playing like the old Chiller game on MAME from the arcade, some of those old arcade light gun games. I think Coco 3's can emulate the mouse on it, so it's not quite the same as playing it on the real CRT with a real gun, but to be able to play the game, it might do in a pinch, right?
I think my geez, I can't even think right now. My version of MAME is like too old or something like that. Because I don't see that option like in my joystick controller or anything like that.
Yeah, I think by default, if you have not changed MAME at all and you run the Coco 3, it actually pops up with that mouse crosshairs like already on the screen unless you disable it. So, but I don't remember. It's been a while since I've tweaked with my MAME settings. So, or maybe it has to be turned on, one of the two. So,
and I don't remember which version specifically. I've got an older version of MAME myself. So
yeah, I would, when you have time, try to get a newer version of MAME and then get the MAME UI to go with it, which adds a little menu bar to the top. You can get MAME UI, which only runs on Windows, which I don't think is a problem for you. And then you can get a lot more pop-up windows on Control. So the MAME UI is a better version of MAME when it comes to having access to menus with dialog boxes and tabs and stuff. And you can really drill in and tweak stuff. And I think you can turn on the mouse support for the Coco 3 part of the emulator and see that little kind of blue pulsating crosshair on the screen.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I had a terrible time last time I downloaded MAME getting it to work. I remember that. I don't know. I'm not very savvy.
ROMs and stuff.
What's that?
I said they keep doing things like changing the CRCs of the ROM so your old ROM images don't work, yet the ROM hasn't changed since 1986.
Yeah, that's one thing I really dislike about MAME. They changed something about the ROMs, the headers or something. I don't know what it is, but there's like certain versions of MAME that run certain ROMs and then other versions that run other ROMs, and that's just one big huge headache. It's difficult to have everything on one program, and to compound things, I'm on a Mac, but I can run most Windows software through Wine. I haven't tried the MAME user interface yet, but I should try it and see if it works, because I'm trying to find a good graphical setup for because I'm running Mac OS normally. I don't have Windows installed on another partition. I could, but I don't. I just don't have it set up.
Yeah. Unfortunately, MAME seems to favor Windows because you can download it already assembled and compiled. You just unzip it to a folder, drag ROMs into the ROM folder, and then it's ready to go. The MAME UI is the third-party add-on to it, but they try to keep it up to date. They try to keep MAME UI matching MAME as far as the version numbers.
I see. Well, it's pretty much the Mac version of the Mac port of MAME. It's the same thing. You just drag and drop it into a folder. Of course, that's pretty much most Mac installations are that way. There's a lot of, most Mac installations, you open a DMG, drag the file, and drop it in the applications folder, and that's installed.
But I thought on Mac and Linux, you had to kind of make it. You had to basically build it or compile it to get it to work. Is there a already assembled binary that you just run? There is? Okay, I thought for whatever reason that on the Mac it had to be built each time.
Probably if you want to keep up with the latest, you would have to build it yourself. But there's a compiled version out there. See, MAME for they call it OS 10.
The latest version does have binaries, but if you want the beta versions, I guess you could call them.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is that for Mac? But what about Linux? Because there's so many different versions of Linux, maybe it's them where they have to build it each time. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. You could certainly compile it under Linux, and Mac OS under the hood and Linux under the hood are pretty much the same thing, or fairly close.
Very close.
Yeah.
And then Barry also has his VCC Wrapped in Wine that he has available for download too, that you can run in.
Which I also do run.
Wrapped in Wine.
I posted the link for MAME OS 10 download is in the chat, the Zoom chat.
Yeah, I saw that. I see a MAME UI 32 in the emulation realm. Steve, is that?
Well, actually, I would go to
put a virus on my computer.
I don't know about that site, but if you go to I'm a Coconut, I've got links for him there. If you go to imacoconut.com and you go to emulators, I've got a link to MAME and I've got a link to MAME UI. Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna try it now while I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, no, so getting MAME downloaded and unzipped is not the hard part. It's just knowing where to stick the ROMs. There's a ROM folder. You got to go to the Color Computer Archive and get all the CoCo 3 ROMs, and put them in that folder, and then you can just run the machine. So
yeah, I got CoCo 3 disk and disk 11 ROMs in my ROM folder for MAME right now. I wonder if those.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you have to have them all, but I don't know if you have to have CoCo 1 and 2 base ROMs to run CoCo 3 or not. I'm not sure if it's stacked or if they're all individual. Just not sure since
I can't remember, but I have them in there anyway. So
yeah. I've actually got a folder. If you remind me, if you send me a message on Discord, I could probably just send you a zip file that has all of the CoCo ROMs that I've been using that all seem to work.
Yeah, I keep the CoCo 1 and 2 ROMs around just for running semi-graphics games like Protectors 2 and stuff because it doesn't work properly with the CoCo 3. It's not emulating the semi-graphics modes.
But I mean, once I got Rob Inman just joined and he says, "Wrapped in Wine" is the title of my autobiography. Mine's going to be Buried in Beer. Yeah, once you get MAME up and running and you get the ROMs in there, it's not terrible. And, we could sit here and nitpick on, say it's a viable alternative to something else, but it's,
It's still the most accurate emulation.
Yeah, it's not the most user-friendly, but it is, for CoCo 3, it is probably the only game in town right now. When it comes to CoCo 2, XRoar is really good, and it's probably easier to get up and running than MAME is.
Yeah. But the other thing about MAME, if you're a programmer, is the debugger.
Right, but the debugger runs like in a little pop-out window, right? And you can see real time what's going on in memory and everything.
Yeah, in fact, you can open up multiple ones. You can have like code in this window and data in this window and multiple data sets if you're trying to look at tables and things. It's quite handy.
Except for when you're running OS 9.
Yeah, they really need something to tie it into the task register.
So I know Glenn Hewlett was mentioning that he was. Hey, we just got a sad face on Facebook. I saw a sad face. I'm seeing faces fly by the screen now. Wow. It's the
Jim
ghost.
must be on Facebook.
Yeah. I remember when Glenn Hewlett were doing the Pac-Man transcode and he was running into a couple of issues. He said he had MAME open on the Pac-Man arcade with the debugger, and then MAME open on the Coco transcode with the debugger too. So he actually had to look into the matrix to see what was going on in both versions to find some of his discrepancies or challenges or whatever. And so the debugger helped him with the transcode, so.
Has anybody heard from him lately on Defender? Is he kind of on hold on that? Or?
Honestly, well, I mean, if he's posting to the mailing list, I'm not seeing it. I don't remember seeing him be too active in
I haven't seen him
in
for
Facebook.
A while.
Yeah.
It's been months since I've talked to him.
Might be one of those life happens type things, right? You got other things to deal with. Yeah.
Yep.
That's me the last 6 months.
Yeah. One person I have heard from who is working on something, which I won't divulge too much if it's not completely public, but Evan Wright, who did Flood It for the Coco and has that adventure game interpreter. He's working on a project too that I'm looking forward to seeing his next. Can
I ask you, Coco 1, 2, and 3 compatible, or just Coco?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know the details. Okay. So I know what the project is, but I don't think it's top secret. But because I don't know if it's been made public, I'll just reserve on that. But that's another one that's out there. So yeah, kind of neat. As we're talking about things that we're thankful for, and like what John was saying earlier, it's hard to believe that we have people like Rick Adams that are hanging out, and Steve Bjork and everybody else, people from Ron DeVos asking for a pee break. Ron, you don't have to raise your hand. You don't need a permission slip or a hall pass or anything. But
yeah, our only restriction is don't take the microphone with you. That's
yeah.
My eyes are,
My eyes are,
But are you thankful for that? That's the question.
We'll take. All right, let's everybody stop what we're doing so Ron can pee. All right, so
I change my depends.
All right, we'll take a commercial break and we'll be back. We'll be back after Ron pees, everybody.
All right.
Hey, this is Eric, and you're listening to CoCoTALK.
We turn you to CoCoTALK.
Didn't give him much chance to be there.
Switcheroo. Use your Coco with a modern display. Go from RGB to composite with just the flip of a switch. CoCo3ScartCable.com.
What's going on, everybody? The Original Gamer Stevie Stroh here, and I want to talk to you about I'mACoconut.com. If you love the color computer like I love the color computer, then you got to visit I'mACoconut.com, your one-stop shop for all of your Tandy color computer links needs. There you'll find links to blogs and podcasts and project sites and emulators and downloads and groups and communities. If you love the color computer, head on over to I'mACoconut.com. That's IMACoconut.com. Tell them the Original Gamer Stevie Stroh sent you. Coco forever, people.
G'day, mates. This is Nick Marionettes, author of such color computer titles as Donut Disaster, Rupert Rhymes, and Rockstar Pilot. And I am here today to tell you about the world's most fabulous operating system, OS 9. OS 9 and its current incarnation, Nitrous 9, is the most advanced operating system ever created. And what makes it so good? Ease of use. I find OS 9 so incredibly intuitive that I haven't once cracked open the user manual, and yet I've been able to create such incredible games faster than the time it takes to sing Waltzing Matilda. Using OS 9, I expect my next game, Funstar will be done this weekend and distributed exclusively on ROM cartridge. OS9 forever.
Any resemblance to actual events to persons living or dead is purely coincidental.
Some people have big plans after school. You know what Elliot's gonna do? Jeff, too. Elliot's at work on a book report using scripted on Radio Shack's Color Computer 3. It hooks up to his TV. And Jeff's at his Radio Shack Color Computer 3 playing the newest football game. But wait, what's Elliot doing playing new Super Pitfall? And Jeff's having a blast with a new math tutor. You never know what you might try with more than 100 programs for fun and learning. Radio Shack's Color Computer 3 comes with everything you see here. Other items each sold separately. Only at Radio Shack.
We now return you to CoCoTALK.
All right, Rondell voted. Everything come out okay?
Run that flushed sound.
All right.
There you go.
Ron had to take a core dump.
That's right. Look what I was able to get.
What do you got there?
It's raisin rice pudding.
Oh, okay.
Real good.
That's good. I went to try to grab another beer from the fridge. I'm out of beer, so I'm having a freaking sippy juice right now. So that's freaking juice pouch with a straw. Very non-climatic here. So
Forgot to wrap your fridge in wine.
mm-hmm. To go from cold beer to Capri Sun is quite the culture shock there. So yeah. So Rob Inman says, "How much time does Ron need to pee?" Depends. Yes.
Well, you wait till you
back.
get 64.
Yeah, right. When I'm 64. So before Ron had to pee, I was getting ready to say, we're sitting here saying the things that we're thankful for. We're thankful for the community and everything else. And like I think earlier John was saying, we have some people in the community, that have been, kind of well known for their contributions and things like that, which is great. I think the community is definitely a melting pot of all of us, from the casual enthusiast to some of the icons and legends and just subject matter experts. You got people like Jim Brain and Richard and Ed Snyder and all these guys who are like real hardware experts. So it's great that we have all these. And for me, I know there's just been a number of like these aha moments, these pinch me moments, and like just starting to play color computer games on YouTube and then getting a comment on the video from the person who made the game. That was like having that happen, seemingly like dozens of times. That was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. That so-and-so who made this game just left a comment on my YouTube video. And it's like, oh my God, pinch me, and so, those were really cool moments. After Curtis and I did our first interview, and then we started a long series of interviews with people, and Rick Adams being the first one, our first big celebrity interview, being able to talk to Rick and get all those stories. And that just kind of started, almost like a tradition at this point. I think it's great that the people who have done things in the past and the people who are doing things now in the present, that everybody is very kind of approachable, and they're available, and they're active in the community, and you can talk to them and ask questions, and it's just really cool. It's I would imagine that this happens in other communities, but since I'm not in those or as active in those, I can't experience it firsthand. But I think it's really something really magical about this thing that we have, this little ball of wax we have that we call the CoCo community.
I know one thing I have to, speaking of interviews, one I'm really thankful for, and I didn't mention it, and I should have, was that we actually got to interview Dale Lear.
Yeah.
That has taken on a whole new meaning to me after what has happened.
Yeah.
We actually got to do that while we could.
Absolutely.
I watched it a few times. So
after he passed, that became an actual thing to keep forever.
Yeah, and I guess my only regret to that is that was early in the stage of how we did things, and back then the people we were talking to were real small, and the game was real big, because that was my original YouTube format for my games, and so it wasn't until about 3 or 4 interviews in where we started focusing more on the people's faces and less on their projects. And so, you know, the video we have for him is a very small window. I've actually thought about that. Could I go back and take that video and maybe stretch it out and zoom it to a degree so we could see more of him? And I know also, for whatever reason on that video, my audio was real low compared to everybody else's, so I might want to try to clean up the audio and just balance it out and maybe find a way to get a better, you know, a better zoom in on Dale himself versus just the games in the background. So maybe like kind of a remastered version of that.
How come you stopped playing the song before, you know, with the baseball?
Oh, just because I've the editing of everything's been in a state of flux, and the version that I have now is not even the version I want to keep. But by the time I have time to do anything, it's almost time to go live on Saturday. So it's like I have all these projects of wanting to re-record the intros and outros and everything else, and I just never have time, it seems. So the one I'm playing now has really been like a temporary version that's been lasting for like seemingly 6 months already. So.
Yeah. Well, you're also busy with your teaching job again now too, so your time is even less than it has been.
Yeah. So, there's a million things I want to do, and it's every time we do the show, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to change this, and oh man, I want to change the intro, and I need to change the outro, and I got to do this, and it's like, I barely have time to do the show. Is like 4 hours a week just to do the show, and then I've got another 4 hours of time to turn it into a podcast and publish it and do this and do that, you know. So just to do one episode is like 8 to 12 hours worth of work, and when we do 2 episodes in one day, and now that just doubles that. So doing anything else, there's other commercials I want to do and bits and all kinds of stuff. It's just, you know, time is the enemy. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it is.
He's whine about ease of use.
Yeah.
He's a wambulance.
Good company.
You guys just remind me of all the things I'm not thankful for. Yes. But that's a good point, Ron. We need to, and I was doing that as a kind of an homage, you know, to always have Dale at the beginning of the show. So, so we got to get him back in there. So, Dan Shepard is a friend of mine in real life. He's like, life gets in the way of living.
Well, how long has it been since he passed?
It was September 1st, and would this be the first? This is the first anniversary this year, all right? I think it was September 1st last year.
I'm thinking a year before.
Has it been 2 years already?
I'm thinking 2 years now.
I don't know.
Because it was just after you started the show.
It was before we started CoCoTALK. Yeah, it was the interview when he passed away, you mean? Versus the interview itself. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I don't think so. We were on the show because I was thinking about mentioning something and we didn't. No, it wasn't, because he gave us a bumper for the show. So, and that was one of the last things he did before he passed, was to email me that bumper that I have, that I play, where he says,
I just checked. It was last year, September 1st.
Yeah. So this year is the anniversary, this September.
What other things did he make?
Besides Color Baseball?
Color Baseball, Double Back, Firecopter, Pickwitch were some of the Coco games that he did. DL Logo.
He did
I think.
the cartridge scripts it.
The cartridge version of
Scripts
Scripts It? Scripts It 2?
Yeah, Dino Wars.
No, he didn't do it. Dale didn't do Dino Wars.
Oh, no, Dale Robinson did that one. Great,
Yeah.
Dino Wars.
Yeah, so he did a bunch of stuff for OS9 too. So I mean, we mostly know him, or I mostly know him for a lot of the Coco games, but he did a bunch of stuff on OS9. In fact, he was on that roundtable recording that they put on Facebook recently when the Coco 3 was first announced. Yeah, so he was there too.
Is that roundtable where you got the quote of "Did you get your Coco 3 yet"? Is that where that comes from?
No, I don't think that was in that recording.
Because I heard it and I thought, oh, well, that's where it came from.
It was
came
from
from
one of the fests that year when the Coco 3 got released, but I can't remember if it was the one because that was back when they had more than one going on. I can't remember if that was the Chicago one, maybe it was Atlanta or something like that. I'm not sure.
Huh.
It would have been the same year, but maybe not the same show.
But when you listen to it, look for it because he says it just like the recording.
No, that's probably what they
Get your
sampled.
Coco 3 yet?
Yeah,
it
right.
Sounds like it's taken right from it.
No, that might be the same one then. I'll have to rewatch
Fantastic.
it. Watched it well.
And I found that interesting listening to that whole thing because I didn't hear that when it was new, and I wasn't really that familiar with the Coco around that time, but it was so interesting just to hear. I forgot who the guy was. What was his name? Rice or something? Or what the main guy who was talking about the Coco 3 and how Tandy worked and how it was being shipped from Asia and it had to be received into warehouses and all this stuff. What was that guy's name who was doing most of the talking?
But first off, where is it? Is it on the Coco?
It's on the archive.
Archive? Okay.
And I believe they had posted it to Facebook too. But the main guy from Tandy who did most of the talking, what was his name?
Mark Siegel or Barry Thompson? Or...
Barry Thompson, maybe. Yeah, Barry Thompson. Yeah. So just the things they were talking about, how it just, how backwards they were and how much of a flustercluck that organization was. It was just like, yeah, well, national parts is one thing and we're another. And, and he was saying things like, yeah, you have to apologize if the people who work for the store are not as up on the Coco as you guys are. We're trying to get better at that and all these things. And it was almost like everything he said was just really not doing a good job in promoting the organization at all. It was basically just highlighting all the shortcomings and all the backwardsnesses of everything that was going on there. And I guess it's nice to have somebody give it to you straight, but it's almost like, maybe a little bit of sugar wouldn't have been so bad to sprinkle on this stuff here. But it was just, I found it so odd, even looking back now. I mean, it just helps underscore everything we've learned now by reading the book from Boise and stuff and all kinds of other things. But to have somebody firsthand to say, yeah, our salespeople aren't that great. And if you want to learn how to get stuff, you got to make friends with the technician and make really good friends with the technician and do this. And it was almost like you had to have a secret handshake and, know which dark alley to walk down to maybe get something ordered properly in the first place. It just made the whole organization sound like a bunch of idiots, in my opinion. So it just, I found that really bizarre. So,
well, when he talked about all those cartons or big shipping containers full of color computer 3s and not knowing how to handle where to offload them or for them or anything. And then later on, the CM8s were coming in.
Yeah.
And they weren't even at the same time.
Yeah.
So you get your color computer 3 and not have a CM3 to use.
Yeah. So I thought it was an interesting slice of history, and I guess in a way, it's probably great to have somebody that high up in the company talk to the community and give them blatantly honest information about how things work and or don't work. But it also just felt really uncomfortable and awkward and cringy all at the same time, hearing all this, even now, just looking back, thinking, this is, everything I hear, I just, it's like, God, how did these people survive as long as they did,
It's like how sausage is made.
The problem is that each store and like National Parts and like when I was in the technician part, is that we all had our own P&L, profit and loss statements. And the thing about the stores is they made more money selling the Tandy 1000s, 1200s, and things like that, and not the Coco.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the biggest problems right there.
Yeah, the Coco was severely limited because of that. They didn't want to create a $200 machine that was competing with their $1,000 machine, basically, because the Coco 3 could have easily had 256 colors in 320 by 200 resolution.
Well, it's not only that; it's just that it also came with the Coco was inexpensive, but you had to buy all the accessories, and then of course there's the space on your desk. It took all that real estate, whereas a 1000 did not. And so, and also the software selection, there was just so much more. And if somebody really got stuck, well, you know, they had classes. You can actually go somewhere else. You could go to another store, you know, and get MS-DOS software. Whereas the Coco, well, it was only Radio Shack.
Yeah, that's true. One thing, thinking back now, because my first stint with Radio Shack was 82, 83. And in that time, you know, working in a store, you really were not required to have any knowledge at all whatsoever of Model 3 or a color computer or, you know, anything like that. And Tandy offered zero training. I never was in any kind of training at all whatsoever other than what you learned in the store from your manager. And I think they may have done better if they would have trained their employees to better market the computers.
Well, it all depends on where you worked at too, because the regular stores, they were mainly in like stereos, CB radios, telephones, you know, that kind of stuff. The computers, they had their own. You know, that's where if you were going to sell computers, they wanted you to go to the computer store.
Yeah, ultimately when the computer centers were around. But even at that, they were pushing the business systems models, more. Yeah, there was a CoCo on display, but none of the salespeople knew anything about it.
Yeah, I know here in Saskatoon we had better luck because we had a couple managers for some of those local Radio Shack stores that actually were CoCo enthusiasts themselves. So they would help push it somewhat, but the computer center was strictly on the business. They could care less about the CoCo whatsoever.
Right. Exactly.
In our club, we had a guy from Radio Shack in our club, and he was very knowledgeable.
Yeah, I think it depended on the store. Like you sometimes got employees or even managers that were actually enthusiasts of it, and they would push it. They would show off, you know, third-party software, not just the stuff that was in Radio Shack itself.
You got to think the average Radio Shack employee is probably the person who wanted to work there and chose to work there was interested in one or more of things that Radio Shack did or sold. You know, I mean, I'm an example of that. I think a lot of us who are, you know, Tandy computer fans was because we got exposed to them hanging out in the store, and a lot of us ended up working at the same store. I know I did. The store I hung out with as a kid, I was an unpaid salesperson for 6 years before I was old enough to work there. Like, yeah, we can't wait till you turn 18 and we can hire you. You know, in the meantime, I'm helping them sell the computers left and right and not making any commission on it. So, you know, and so by the time I worked there, I was somewhat of a subject matter expert on Tandy computers because I had owned them and used them and hung out in that store for years. I read the catalogs, I read the magazines, I was somewhat informed, and I worked there, and I did quite well selling the computers based on my knowledge of the systems. But maybe that's not true across the entire country. I find it hard to imagine that you had non-techie, non-circuitry, non-radio or stereo, you know, or something, you know, just a generic sales clerk. I find it really hard to imagine that you just had a random salesperson that knew nothing about nothing in that store.
Well, at least here, I mean, depending which Radio Shack you had some that had people that were really into the computer side of things, but you had others that were really into the stereos or the remote control cars, but could care less about computers and knew nothing about them.
Right.
So if you went to that store in your local neighborhood and they didn't know anything about it, you'd never get sold on buying a computer.
Yep. But that was the other thing that Tandy did back in the 70s is a lot of, and of course in the 80s, and Stevie was probably like the last of them, is they hired people that were knowledgeable about, you know, because they enjoyed doing it. So like with Stevie, he was with computers, and so that's, you know, and Radio Shack stuff. And a lot of the employees were like that. I mean, when you walked into a store in the 70s, you actually had people that knew about a lot of the electronics. And so a lot of people would go in there and get a lot of advice. But as time went on, you just actually had store people, and it was a disaster.
Yeah.
But at the time of that roundtable recording, which was probably around 1986, were we already at that point where all the experience had moved on and they were just hiring random retail employees?
It was already.
Really?
I honestly believe 83, 84 was the apogee of at least for the computers, because that's when Tandy went from an innovator to a follower.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. That time period, 83, 84 is even when Rainbow was its thickest, and Color Computer Magazine and Color Computer News and Hot Cocoa. I mean, that was the peak years, was 83, 84, when we had like 5 or 6 dedicated magazines.
I felt good about my machine when I had my Cocos when I first started out with them. I had the Rainbow and I had the Color Computer Club, and there was support and there was programs and there was excitement, and when the magazine came out, and you know, it would, I didn't even realize or care about Apples or Commodores or anything.
The Rainbow magazine really did kind of validate the machine. It was a very professional book, just filled with content and information. It was well done. It was thick. It was glossy. It had, you know, programs in it, articles, information. It was really like that magazine really made you feel good about having that Coco. You know, it just was such a value added component of the whole experience.
Yeah. The silly thing up here in Canada, anyway, is that Radio Shack didn't actively promote Rainbow until well into the Coco 3's life. The Coco 1 and 2, if you talked to Radio Shack, they'd hand you Tier City Microcomputer News, which is this little tiny thin thing that covered all their computers.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even mention Rainbow existed.
Yeah, which is odd.
Well,
Because it's kind of like a value-added sort of thing, whereas, you know, they don't have anything to do with it at all whatsoever, but here's this magazine out here dedicated to our product entirely, and we should promote it because, it's going to help them, but it'll also help us sell computers because you can see that support out there for it.
But
that advertised in it.
Yeah, during the early 80s and you know, in the 70s, you know, in the Model 1, Tandy's stance was they wanted it to be the all-in-one, one-stop place. So if you walked in, you bought the computer, you bought Tandy software, you bought Tandy support, you know, you didn't go anywhere, you know, including like magazines. It was 80 Micro and, you know, the TRS 81. And they really discouraged people from going out to different places until, you know, like the mid 80s. But yeah, that was Tandy's whole thing.
Tandy wasn't the only one that did that though. TI was very vertical also. They wanted to run the whole show.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, Tandy and their manufacturing, they used to outsource a lot of their stuff, and then they decided, well, you know what, we can make our own. I mean, now they used to make their own cables. Tandy Wire and Cable was the manufacturer. They made all the cabling, especially for the computers. So if you bought any TV wire or any telephone wire or anything like that, it was made by Tandy. So Tandy, you know, and they made an enormous profit out of that particular factory. So they decided, well, you know what, we could do that with power supplies and disk drives, and they started doing that. And they lost their shirt on that too. So.
We have a new guy here.
Yeah, we got a couple. Mark Overholzer has joined us, and Richard Chrislip has joined us too. Hello, Richard. Hello, Mark. Happy Thanksgiving to both of you.
I'm back.
And Mikey's back. He's back. Mikey. Hey, Mikey. Richard, how are you? You hear us?
Your face is blurted out.
And we cannot accuse Richard of being in the witness protection program. And he's not backlit. He's just heavily front lit at this point. So, Paul Fisker, yeah. So Paulie says the biggest issue with Radio Shack was their reliance on huge margins. They supplied products that at the time you could not walk in the store and get anywhere else. They had a monopoly in many respects. And then Salvador Garcia says, from what I've heard, not even Radio Shack took their computers seriously. I don't know about that. So, I mean, if you want to talk, you know, I know Richard touched on something where there was a time when they were an innovator, and I think one of the first times they were an innovator was the TRS 80. The Model 1, right? Because they
absolutely 77 as an all-in-one package. The Apple, the Commodore PET, and the TRS.
Yeah. The first wired, tested, and UL listed PC on the market.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't a kit, right? It was ready. It was engineered, designed, and ready to go.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I walked into a Radio Shack store. It was probably around 78, 79, and there was a Model 1 on display. And, of course, it wasn't called a Model 1. It was just called a TRS 80.
TRS 80, yep.
And I remember looking at it, and it was the first time me and a computer were in the same room, and I was looking at the screen of the computer, and I didn't know it at the time, but at the time it was basically just a basic ready prompt. And I remember wondering, if there was a program in the, installed or loaded into the computer. And then I thought, my second train of thought was, if there is, going on the assumption that there is a program, I wonder how I would make it run. So I stuck my hand out and I typed RUN and pressed enter, and boom, this screen came alive and this basic program started running, and I was kind of like taken aback by it because I was like, well, these things aren't so complicated. And I just happened to get lucky. Probably one of the employees there was smart enough to type cload-m and had loaded some game and then got distracted by a customer. And when I walked up to it, I happened to just get lucky enough to type run and press enter. And that really did a lot to bolster my confidence that I could, learn about computer. I was like, this just doesn't seem so hard. Thought I was doing pretty well for having absolutely no knowledge at all whatsoever. First interaction ever with a computer. And that's why originally I was into the Model 1 and Model 3, but eventually found the CoCo. And yeah.
I had a similar situation. I went up to the Radio Shack window and looked at it, and I thought to myself, wow, this is like the future. This is really cool. But the second thought in my head was, yeah, that ain't for me. I don't think I could. I don't think I'm smart enough to do that. And I moved along. It was like looking at something from the future, and not having the ability to comprehend it.
Yeah. I had a slightly opposite effect because before I didn't know how to use a computer till I got my CoCo and started reading the book that came with it. So, like when the TIs were like on display in the department stores and stuff, I would just type out plain English. I would type in begin programming. Program now. Are you ready to program? Can you make a program? I'm just typing in all this stuff and hitting enter, and then getting all these freaking error messages on the screen. I'm like, all right, I'm an idiot. So
you're really good at generating syntax errors.
Yeah, you're still doing that, aren't you?
Yeah. The computer. Hello, computer. Oh, the keyboard. How quaint.
I mean, in my case, we had a Commodore PET that went through the school starting in 78, 79, and they only bought 2 for the entire city, so it rotated between schools. Like every school got it for 2 weeks, and people would fiddle around with them. And I worked on it for the 2 weeks it was there the first year. Then we got our own dedicated one the following year, and I really fell in love with the computer then. That's just a black and white thing. And then they were upgrading to Apple II Pluses, which were at the time $1,500 Canadian, I think. So they were selling the Commodore PETs off for $150 each, which had the screen, the cassette recorder built in with the keyboard. And I thought, oh, that's great. Because I had been fiddling with by that time, I was fiddling with the CoCo at Radio Shacks, but I paid $550 for the 4K model. So I ended up trying to put in a bid for $150 for the PET, and I put it in too late. So I lost it, and I went to the CoCo because of that.
And that's Richard Crislip. Richard, you just, whatever you did to unmute your microphone, you've now just released the Kraken on audio there. So,
I thought that was me.
I thought it was dramatic music for my story, but
poorly written dramatic music.
Okay, is it bad?
Yeah, it was that.
Well, it's not as bad now, Richard. How are you, Richard?
Well, if I was any better, y'all wouldn't be able to stand me.
Yeah.
So, when you're talking about your early years, my first introduction was when the early computers came out and they had 4K of RAM, and I wanted one. I just couldn't afford them. But I ended up getting a CoCo 2, and the sales manager at the Radio Shack where I was at was very knowledgeable. And he actually trained me quite a bit.
Wow.
And he was in the C programming on the CoCo and really doing a lot of things with it. And he worked for Radio Shack at the time. And I bought the machine, as I told you at the CoCo Fest a year and a half ago, that keep my programming skills in. I just graduated from a local university here in programming. So I bought a CoCo to keep my hand in because I decided I did not want to be a programmer for a while. and so that's where that was at. I had a good time with it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. And happy Thanksgiving to you, Richard.
Always all muted.
Yeah, there's a little bit of noise. There's a lot of noise there, but yeah. Happy Thanksgiving to you. And we're glad to have you.
Okay, I'm going to mute it, and if I want to talk again, I'll unmute it.
All right, sounds good. And Mark D. Overholzer, our resident Apple guy, happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Do you have a lot to be thankful for this year, Mark Overholzer?
Oh yeah, I posted way earlier on Facebook about it. Yes, my family, all my Coco friends.
Yes. Excellent. Yeah, very, very cool. Yeah, you could sit. Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, I was just going to say, hey, I need to step away for the evening, and but I just wanted to ask. You mentioned last weekend. Is there a Black Friday special tomorrow?
On the Retro Swag Shop?
Yes.
Actually, let me pull it up right now and take a look. Let's see. Good question. Great time for a shameful plug. All right, so if I click on T-shirts and coffee mugs, should it be?
It's a buy one get one sale.
BOGO.
You know what? Let me check my email. I remember seeing an email from them saying there was right now. It doesn't look. I don't see anything on the site. So let me
tell us what the secret promo code is, and then we can drive sales.
Because I need another
okay.
couple of shirts.
So Cyber Week from 11:23 to 11:25. So that will be starting tomorrow. Okay. So so from November 23rd through from November 25th. The coupon code would be Cyber18. That should show up on the site when you check it out tomorrow. So what Cyber18 will give you is 15% off of everything. Now, if you want to wait until November 26th and you use the code CYBERSALE, you will get 15% off and free shipping. So these are the codes, but they're not on the site right now. So if you want to get something tomorrow and you got to have it right away, Cyber18 will be the code for that for 15% off, but you will have to pay shipping. That is from November 23rd through November 25th. What day is November 25th? Is that like Sunday or something? November 25th is Sunday. And so Monday is Cyber Monday. So from Black Friday to Gray Sunday, whatever the hell color it is, those are 15% off. If you wait till Cyber Monday on the 26th, you will get 15% off and free shipping. All right, so there you go. So I'd say wait till Monday.
Well, happy Thanksgiving, all.
Yeah,
it's been a nice evening here visiting with everybody. So
yeah,
talk to you this weekend. Thank you
guys take care. And what are we saying here? Salvador Garcia says Model 1 was Radio Shack's first foray into the microcomputer business. It was innovative. It is when Radio Shack saw the huge win that I feel they lost sight of innovation and worked for profits instead. And what is Mark saying here? Radio Shack didn't connect that innovation made products that people would pay for. Yes, there we go. So somebody just put it out there. Thanks, Mark, for putting out those codes. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of like this show, CoCoTALK, became an unexpected hit. So maybe the Tandy computers were also possibly an unexpected hit for them, and they saw their time. They definitely were a profit-driven company, and you got to admire that. I mean, that's great. As a business, if they can make money on it. But when you read about it in the book from Boise and Bill, and you hear these stories, it's like, all right, we've decided this is the features we want to have. We've decided this is the price we're going to sell it for. Now you as engineers have to take this price list and engineer backwards from there to make things work within the price we want to sell it for. That was how they designed their systems was, we want it to sell for this much, when we need this much profit. So based on that number, engineer back to the core and make it work. Instead of
one of the tenets of engineering.
Yeah.
Constraints, time, money, resources.
Yeah.
Most of the time, what they did actually is they would design stuff. It would go through the marketing, and then they would try to determine, well, could we sell it for this? No, they would send it back and say we need to cut corners on it as well. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just what coulda, shoulda, woulda been. So who's innovating now? I mean, I think John Lowry might have a company he works for that he might possibly say is innovating.
I would like to think that we're still definitely trying to innovate. The latest Series 4 Apple Watch has the first consumer EKG device built into it. Can monitor your EKG constantly and send the data to the phone, which through an app could be forwarded onto your doctor. And so a doctor can look at months of the activity of your heart rather than just going to the doctor. He sees a snapshot of your current condition, but when they can monitor you over months, it's a lot of innovation going on in the Apple Watch area, I think. And
but John, you go to buy the watch and you have a heart attack.
That's only after you see the price.
I don't experience that because as an employee, when the Series 3 came out, my current Apple Watch, I got it at half. They offered it at half price, so that's kind of how they get you to buy it because they offer us really good deals. Normally I get a 25% discount. But when the Apple Watch came out, they offered it at half price, so I picked it up. And then when the 3 came out, I got that at half price too. So I got a couple of things at half price. The HomePod too is pretty good.
And I mean, the T2 chip and the latest ARM-based chips that they've got, like the Bionic 12X and stuff, or they're using in the latest iPad Pro, are pretty innovative. And then Microsoft said like some of the Surface stuff they've done is really innovative and cool.
Resetting the system management controller with T2 chip devices is different now. You have to follow a different path to reset the SMC, which, believe it or not, a lot of the advisors don't know yet that you have to do that. But got to read the articles, because when a customer calls in and has an issue, and like say for example, resetting the SMC, which is a system management controller, it monitors the power button, it does power management amongst other things. But sometimes resetting that will solve the problem, and there's a way to do it. And then once you learn how to do it, you stop referring to the article. But then they sneak something like that in there and make a change with the T2 chip, and things change. So you might think you're resetting the system management controller, but you're not really doing so. And so it's stuff we gotta work to stay abreast of.
I got a question for you IT guys out there. Are we going to get higher wireless speeds, or are we going to stay like when we were on dial-up, 56K was it?
I guess first of all, which wireless are we talking about? Are we talking about
wireless
like
for
wireless or like Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi
from my Wi-Fi. Yeah.
I saw an interview with Martin Cooper, the guy that basically invented the modern cell phone, and he talked about bandwidth and how back in the 50s they had this much bandwidth and now they've got this much, and they just constantly seem to eke more and more bandwidth out of a given frequency range. And nowadays they're doing like crazy stuff like beam forming, which directs a transmission in a particular direction, so you can reuse the frequency in the opposite direction, kind of thus doubling a cell area. Two calls can be on the same frequency if they're far enough apart, and you're beaming the signal to them. And so, the answer is ultimately yes. When that happens, I can tell you one thing: Apple will not be a part of it. We recently discontinued the airport line of routers, and the time capsule is. We're just getting completely out of the whole Wi-Fi business, I guess.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that sucks.
So what's the alternative?
Well, there's lots of system manufacturers out there that make Wi-Fi hardware. And I think originally we were kind of on the bleeding edge of pushing the Wi-Fi technology, but now that it's kind of established and there's other companies out there doing great things with networking, wireless networking, that we decided we would have to either put more money, I guess, into research and development or step out of the business. So, you got any router manufacturer will work with any Mac.
Yeah, and to be honest, Apple couldn't compete on price with some of the newer ones anyway. So
No.
it does make sense.
Well, the thing about Wi-Fi, you might have an outdated router, Ron. I mean, there's been wireless G, wireless N. Now we're on wireless Alpha Charlie. There's wireless AC. So there's all these different wireless.
Well, what is the
things.
fastest speed right now?
Right now, wireless AC running at 5 gigahertz is the fastest one. It's got, like 1.3 gigahertz supposedly of speed or whatever it is. So it's there is fast Wi-Fi, but your mileage may vary because it depends how far away are you from the access point. How much interference do you have in your home? What is your internet speed? Because if you've got slow internet speed, doesn't matter how fast your Wi-Fi is. So there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle that affect that. But
actually, nowadays with most current wireless networks, they are faster than most common household bandwidth speeds. Most households have 5 megs per second average.
Well, the another thing to consider with a wireless router is there's your $30 router, and then like Curtis was mentioning, the Apple routers are a lot more expensive, $200-$300, and you are paying a certain amount of that's probably going for the premium to have the Apple logo on it, say it's an Apple device. But the other side of that coin is it's the best router that we could possibly make, and you'll get a much faster, with the same, all things being the same, your environment, your internet connection speed and everything, you can get way better value out of a high-end router versus a low-end router. Like I bought a cheapy $30 Netgear router, and all I could hit was about 65 megabits out of the 100 megabits connection that I have, which typically hits when it's wired around 117 or so. But with an Apple router, I would do much better than with or some other high-end. I'm sure Cisco or Linksys, even Netgear. And has even Netgear probably has more expensive routers that have more bells and whistles and can eke a higher bandwidth out of it.
So I recently upgraded my wireless network from a single access point to a mesh setup because I have a ton of interference. I'm in a townhouse, and every neighbor of the 100 or so people in this complex, they all have Wi-Fi. So I had to do that to get better coverage and speed in different rooms. So it's a 3-point mesh setup, and my connection maxes out at like 120 megabits or something like that. And I can get that from every single room now, where even if I had regular access point nearby before, couldn't, even if it was like wired or whatever, it was kind of not that good. But now wherever I am in the house, I can max out my connection. So
yeah, mesh is the new buzzword in wireless networking for sure.
Yeah. One thing good is when I first moved in this house, the people that did the work on the road out front cut the line, so I had to have Cox come out, and they had to redo a whole new line from the access point at the road all the way into my house. So all that was new, which I think helped.
Oh yeah,
it being so old.
It could definitely have a big difference. Sure.
Yeah.
So,
you get some good trolling comments out there, and so if you guys haven't been watching the live chat, lots of good trolling comments. The most recent one, Richard Lorabieski says, "This is more interesting than an Amish golf tournament." Oh, good times, good times.
That's funny.
And that's something.
To Wi-Fi issues, just run Ethernet everywhere, which is what.
Yeah, pretty much what I've done. I had my house wired Cat 6 everywhere. So
I prefer hardwire everywhere too.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I work from home, and for work I have to be hardwired. And on my personal computer, I'm hardwired because I'm 2.5 feet from the modem. So why not?
Yeah,
and I
I'm
get way
hardwired,
better.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, consistency is the main thing with wired because I mean Wi-Fi just intermittently loses things all the
Oh,
time.
it does.
That, and
It's
there's
choppy
some
video
devices
connections.
that don't work properly. Like
Yeah.
PlayStation 4 has really crappy Wi-Fi, so if you don't run Ethernet to it, you're just SOL for doing anything.
Are we talking lag here?
The lag is real.
Yeah, when Michael was talking about his mesh setup and how things are better now, and he's in a townhouse, so he's got neighbors. I'm like, yeah, he's probably surrounded by a bunch of YouTube gamer wannabes.
Makes you wonder about all his neighbors now. They're going, man, my Wi-Fi just sucks now. I don't know what happened.
Yay, I did my job. Everyone's very happy.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
Good times, good times. Oh, well, we beat this one to death. Have we established that we're all thankful, and God bless us, everyone, and kumbaya, and sit by the campfire and all that kind of stuff.
Yep, and thanks to Jim Gary for sending us a cocoa turkey.
Yes, definitely. We will have a regularly scheduled dumpster fire CoCoTALK on Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is only a couple days away. I'm thankful for everybody who joined us in the live call this evening and everybody who's been with us in the live chat. It's always nice to get together, for those of us who are talking and those of us who are typing. We're all sharing a moment, and that moment tends to last 3 to 4 hours. And if your moment lasts more than 4 hours, please consult your physician. So.
If we only had lives.
Yes. No, but these conversations are these are the conversations that sometimes you only get to have once a year or once a month when you went to your club meeting or whatever it was, or once a year at Cocoa Fest. So the fact that we can do this every day on Discord, and we're doing it once or more than once a week on live streaming, broadcasting this kind of stuff. It's really cool. Stuff I never would have expected.
I have one other IT question.
Oh, okay.
I'm using the retro monitors instead of the LED stuff. Am I getting radiation?
It is only in your testicles. It's
yeah.
It's
I have the monitor up on the table.
Yeah, but it's a certain type of radiation. What happens is the heat actually falls as it comes out of the screen, and it's on a curve, and it ends up going down towards your man sack.
Just redirected. In other words, it's nowhere important.
If somebody else is cutting in
a
real job,
Jeez. Don't worry, though. You'll be able to tell because your face will be getting tan before that side.
Yeah. Yeah, rotate your face every half hour.
Symptoms of radiation is when you have a beard.
I've noticed abnormal growth.
Especially if you put cell phones in there, like I know you're sometimes want to do.
Yeah. I don't think there's any appreciable radiation from 50, 60 some odd years of CRT use in televisions.
Now, mind you, the Coco VDG nuclear green screen might have some extra radiation. That's
Yes.
Staring at it too long.
Traded in the blue pill for the green screen.
Retro Innovation says, "I'm thankful the conclusion of this show will end the misery."
Why does he hurt himself by watching?
Hashtag me too.
Got a hashtag me too.
Go on the live call. He wants to make sure we're not impugning his products.
Yeah.
Tell him to turn off his soldering.
Rob Inman says, "Enter code MANSAC for your After Dark accessories."
There's a game about that coming out now, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
Super sack races. Keep your sack away from your CRTs and you'll be fine.
Yeah,
Avoid the nuclear green glows.
Chet should put those little floating CRTs that you have to avoid.
Oh my goodness.
My son has a gimme chip.
Yeah.
From all these years.
Of
course.
Oh Lord! There is such thing as too much of a good thing, and
if we ever get to having a good thing, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One interesting note here. I'm looking at the specifications for the Apple Watch. The display on my Series 3 is 312 by 390, which is higher than a CoCo. Well, you're 1 and 2 at least.
Yeah, 312 by 390.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, for the 42
Does it glow
millimeter.
nuclear green and give you a tan? That is the question.
If you enable the picture, you can do a watch face that's pictures, and then just make the picture a picture of a CoCo screen. I could do that.
Don't light that up under the bed covers. It's scary.
Oh dear Lord. Yeah. So what's the new one going? So that's almost square pixels too. You almost got like perfect ratio there.
Yeah, pretty close. A little bit taller than wider, but that's kind of understandable because you're scrolling a lot up and down. So you want that vertical resolution.
So you get a Fresnel lens for that, so you can see it from your.
No, actually, I can see mine fine. I'm nearsighted, so just this distance I can see perfectly. But it's actually, it's pretty decent resolution. The screen's so small, the resolution doesn't have to be that high to make it look resolute. And yeah, it's just interesting though that I'm wearing something on my wrist with a higher resolution than the CoCo that I played with 30 years ago.
Not to mention more processing power too.
Yeah,
well, Dick Tracy had one.
Absolutely, yeah. We are in the future. The future is now, and I keep getting distracted by the chat. If this show was a road show, it would be called the Magical Misery Tour. We just need to not hang up now so we can continue to watch the sidebar comments here because they're more entertaining than the show itself. It's like a show on the side of the show. We have a side show here next to the main show. We're in the big top and here's the side show. So
if this is a sideshow, where are the donuts?
Curtis had his donuts for Thanksgiving.
It's an antique road show. We're just not sure if the antique is talking about the CoCos or all of us people on the panel.
Oh no shit. Yeah, I think my food cone is finally kicking in. Oh my god. But yeah, no, this has been great. I thank you everybody for hanging out tonight. Thank you for the trolls too. It's always good. We have arrived. We have more trolls than that other show, right? That other CoCo show doesn't have anywhere near the trolling that we have, and we've got high caliber trolls too, not just your amateur wannabe trolls. We bring out the best.
It comes with a live audience,
Yes.
Right.
So,
or worst, I guess, depending on your point of view. But
absolutely. And so Ken Reichert was here. He said Turkey Day with a bunch of turkeys, right? So who else was this? Let's wrap this things up. And let me go back here. I'm just hitting my mouse wheel, scrolling back to the beginning of time here with the chat. I want to make sure I recognize and thank everybody who's been here. Well, we've already lost some people here, but we had Miniko Stone, Curtis Boyle was here, and Carl Daughtery, and Retro Innovations, and Ken Reichard, Mark D. Overholzer, Jim Gary, Trina K, Tim Franklin, Mikey has been here in the live chat. Mark Bosley was here. Carl Arvil was here. More Carl. Retro Innovations, Salvador Garcia, D. Bruce Moore, Jason Downs, Paul Thayer, Mikey, and more Mikey and Carl. And Rob Inman has been here. We haven't had Nick Marotta. This has been an episode without Nick Marotta. It's hard to say.
This has been a Nicholas episode. No.
Yeah. Dan Shepard has been here. Rob Inman, Salvador Garcia, Jason Downs, Paul Fiscarelli has been here. Polly Walnuts. Mark Overholzer, Curtis Boyle, Tim Franklin has been here. Salvador, Mark, Salvador, Richard Lorbieski.
Tim Franklin.
Tim Franklin has been here. Tim Franklin. Retro Innovations is here. Richard Lorbieski. Mark Overholzer, Richard Lorbieski, Retro Innovations. I think we're getting a pattern here. Steve Bjork just came in, and Steve Bjork too. That's right. So excellent. Thank you all. And still with us on the call, Jason Downs, L. Curtis Boyle, Ron Delvo, Richard Chrislip, Bill Noble, John Laurie, Mark D. Overholzer, Mikey Furman. He likes it. Richard Lorbieski, Paul Thayer. Earlier on the program, we had Rick Adams. Who else dropped off the call? We started off with Diego from Uruguay. Who else was here? We had a few people come and go. It's hard to remember. It's just been overwhelming. So, great show. I want to say thank you to everybody in the community. What do you got there? Is that your Coco 3 FPGA? Yes, it is. Coco 3 FPGA. So to everyone in the Coco community, I would just like to say...
Thank you. Yes, you're too kind. And thank you.
Yes, thank you. So, yes, and that's about it. You guys want any closing thoughts, parting thoughts? Anyone?
What was the topic?
Oh, yeah, good question. I'm not sure.
I can tell you, probably next Saturday, we're going to have a Jim Jerry show because we might have made him mad.
2 days from now?
Yeah. This Saturday?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we'll get Jim Gary back on.
MC10 special.
The MC10 special. All MC10. We should open up our own channel for that. All MC10. All the time. Yes. All right, well, this concludes Turkey Talk. We're going to play the outro music here, some cool late night talk show theme music, and we'll be back one more time for parting thoughts. So hold tight, kids. All right, everybody. This concludes another episode of Coco Talk After Dark, a production of Coco Talk during day. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Depend Undergarments, Viagra, Propecia, That Little Blue Pill, I'd like to thank David Ladd and the After Dark Orchestra.
Hey, you got the Coco 3 yet?
All right, there we go. And we're about to end the train wreck. We did, James Differentdaffer was on briefly. Kind of came and went. We didn't get a chance to hear any of his trains. So that's it, guys. Thank you all for watching. Hope everybody had a wonderful, happy Thanksgiving. Hope you all have things to be thankful for, and we'll see you again on Saturday on our regular time, on our regular channel. And hopefully Nick Marotta will be there. All right?
Let's go eat some pie.
Eat some pie, some punch and pie. All right, I'm about ready to press the button. Any final thoughts? Say goodbye, everybody. Everybody at once. Say 1, 2, 3. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Party on, Wayne.
See you
Party
Saturday.
on, Wayne Garth. All right, I'm pressing the button. Take care, everybody.